Chapter 938 God Realm Opportunity. Xianxia calmed his mind and focused, circulating the Rage God's power with a bit of the Sky Poison Pearl's Purification power. His palms slowly moved down from Mu Bingyun's chest all the way down to her lower abdomen before moving back up. During the course of this process, his brows pinched even tighter. Even though the poison in Mu Bingyun's body was strong, it was far inferior to the poison Jasmine had been inflicted with, and also not as toxic as the devil poison Honger had previously possessed either. However, there had only been a small trace of devil poison in Honger's body back then. It had probably just recently invaded her at that time, right before she had been sealed inside the coffin of eternity. As a result, he had easily been able to completely cleanse her poison. Mu Bingyun's poison, however, according to Mu Xiaolan, she had been infected by this poison 1,000 years ago and could not cure it during that entire time. Being able to persevere for 1,000 years surely meant that she relied on a massive amount of treasures to forcibly preserve her life. It was easy to imagine how far the poison could spread over an entire millennium. It was hardly surprising that this poison had completely invaded her soul body and had even taken form to become a poison spirit. Moreover, it was a high-level poison spirit which he had never seen before. Poison spirits were things he had seen many times before. Only high-level toxins were able to birth poison spirits. Back when he had accompanied Yungu in the Azure Cloud continent to practice medicine, he had seen tens of poison spirits. Back when he had expelled the poison from Chu Yuechen's body, the cold poison in her body had also given birth to a poison spirit. But those were all low-level poison spirits with low-level consciousness. However, the poison spirit birthed from Mu Bingyun's poison clearly already possessed a high-level consciousness, even so much that it had its own independent life force. That life force was born from Mu Bingyun's lifeline, and they were completely linked. If the poison spirit died, there was no question that she would die too. On the other hand, if Mu Bingyun died, not only would the poison spirit not disappear, it would truly become its own independent entity. As such, if he wanted to disperse the poison in her body, he had to eliminate the poison spirit. And if he wanted to eliminate the poison spirit, he had to sever the connection between Mu Bingyun's lifeline and the poison spirit. "Phew, how troublesome," muttered Xianxia. Phoenix flames ignited in his palm when he lifted his right hand. It suspended in the air above Mu Bingyun's chest and then slowly descended. Wrapped in the Rage God's power, it directly sank into Mu Bingyun's body. Xianxia went completely silent as his entire body completely stilled, aside from the beads of sweat that slowly slid down his forehead. This posture was kept in place for 1 full hour. Then Xianxia's eyes suddenly flew open as he raised both hands. HSS. Followed by the sound of an obscure shrill cry, a streak of fire suddenly fled from Mu Bingyun's body and quickly warped into a sinister-looking flame image. The poison spirit? The poison spirit struggled with all its might while hissing, as though it wanted to get away from Mu Bingyun's body. However, the poison spirit was still poison. Even a higher-level poison spirit could be purified into residue in front of the Sky Poison Pearl's purifying ability. Xianxia's left hand shot out like lightning and immediately grabbed the poison spirit. The poison spirit was immediately covered by a green light before completely disappearing right after. However, Xianxia did not let out a sigh of relief. His expression changed slightly. Those were golden crow flames? That poison spirit, as well as the medium that contained it, were obviously golden crow flames. What was going on? The person who had heavily injured and poisoned Mu Bingyun 1,000 years ago was someone who possessed the golden crow god's power. Xianxia already knew that there were people in the realm of the gods who possessed the golden crow flames. Jasmine had previously told him about a flame god realm, which contained people who inherited the powers of the 3 supreme fire attribute beasts. The vermilion bird, Phoenix, and the golden crow. Could it be that the flame god realm and the snow song realm were enemies? Once this thought flashed by in Xianxia's mind, he immediately concentrated. Starting from Mu Bingyun's life vein, he transferred the energy of heaven and earth while slowly purifying the flame poison inside. Outside the snow congealing hall, the sky had unwittingly darkened. For a full 6 hours, not the least bit of sound could be heard from within the snow congealing hall. It was not known how many times Mu Xiaolan had paced back and forth outside. As time continued to pass, the greater she burned with anxiety. She had perhaps not even relaxed for a single instant. She was worried about whether or not Xianxia could truly save Mu Bingyun. and was even more worried about whether or not this lowly, despicable and especially loathsome person would seize this opportunity to do devious things to her master. Murong Xianxia and the others also waited outside the hall. Not a single person went elsewhere, and all of them were filled with apprehension. If all of this was true, then the person who lay within the snow-congealing hall was their ancestor. How could this be a small matter? Within the snow-congealing hall, Xianxia finally moved away from Mu Bingyun's body. With a forehead marred with steaming sweat, he exhaled heavily. His entire body was filled with ice crystals formed by his very own perspiration. It was absolutely impossible to disperse all the poison in her body in just 6 hours. However, more than half of the poison in her life vein had been cleansed, and the poison would no longer spread for the time being. Moreover, under the dense, pure energy of heaven and earth, her entire body was now able to recover its own vitality. Xianxia scattered the ice crystals on his body, then sat on the ice chair behind him. He had not used much of his physical energy in those 6 hours, but the mental burden was still quite heavy. After he took several large gasps, he suddenly started talking to himself. So even fairies from the god realm are this lazy, to not ever bother to get up after having already woken up. As soon as his voice fell, the white-clothed female on the ice bed slowly opened her eyes. 2 rays of light that were even more colder and purer than snow jade instantly emerged within the hall created by congealed ice. She sat up and raised her jade arms to inspect the back of her hand. Then her eyes landed on Xianxia. She said softly, "Who exactly are you?" Her voice was as soft as floating snow, yet it was also as mild as a clear spring. There was no surprise, no joy, and no excitement. Even though it was a question, it was so flat that it sounded like a statement. "I should be asking you that first." Xianxia was especially amazed at Mu Bingyun's reaction. Someone who bore a flame poison for 1,000 years. A person who had hovered between the borders of life and death, should be pleasantly surprised after waking up to find out that the flame poison on their body had weakened and their vitality recovered. However, she was actually this calm and indifferent, as though her emotions had been sealed in ice. Her type of indifference was also several miles beyond the cold detachment Chu Yuechen used to ward off others. Even though her eyes were not warm, they were not cold. Though her voice was emotionless, it was as gentle as the clean spring wind, yet still unapproachable, lest one sully it when closing in. "Are you really Mu Bingyun, the person who founded Frozen Cloud Asgard 1,000 years ago?" Xianxia asked straightforwardly. Mu Bingyun rose from the ice bed. The instant her white clothes drooped down, a streak of light flitted past her snowy face. She turned her gaze to the outside of the hall and said softly, "It seems like Xiaolan has already told you many things." This answer of hers was undoubtedly a silent affirmation. "When I left 1,000 years ago, I was already determined to cut off all ties with this world. I never expected that I actually couldn't let go of it and returned here. As a result, I have even gained the hope of surviving. Or perhaps this is also fate destined by the heavens." Xianxia had never seen such an apathetic person before, and it was even an extreme beauty. He asked probingly, "You were about to die earlier, but I saved you just now. Why do you not seem to feel happy or excited?" Mu Bingyun shifted her gaze and calmly looked at him. "During these past years, I have always been awaiting death. I have already grown indifferent to whether or not I live or die. Now that there is hope of me surviving, I am actually somewhat at a loss." Xianxia, "Though it is true that being able to live is a good thing," Mu Bingyun said mildly as the light in her eyes finally exhibited some slight movement. "I have already answered your question, but you have yet to tell me who you are." Mu Bingyun inquiring eyes looked straight at Xianxia. Because I had been grievously injured back then, I had lost all my profound strength and was unable to disperse the toxin in my body. This led to it invading my life vein and soul, dooming me. It was simply impossible to cure even in my snow song realm. But you, someone who is obviously from a lower realm, was able to heal me to such a degree in a few hours. If this did not happen to my own body, I would never believe it. Xianxia, you are truly an extraordinary person." Xianxia leaned forward and said in shock, "How do you know my name?" "In the past couple of years, because I knew that I did not have long to live, this place was always on my mind. I have already visited Frozen Cloud Asgard 3 times. The first time was when Frozen Cloud Asgard just happened to encounter its calamity. The second time we came, you had already been appointed the new Asgard Master. At that time, I sensed that you had actually successfully learned the Frozen End divine arts by force, and even combined it with its contrary attributes Golden Crow flames. That was when I felt that you were extraordinary. Today was our third visit, and you amazed me yet again, because your profound strength had risen from the Emperor Profound Realm to the Sovereign Profound Realm in a mere 2 years. Xianxia was slightly dumbstruck. Mu Bingyun had actually came here twice already and had even noticed him. In Snow Song Realm, this kind of growth is nothing out of the ordinary, but in this blue pole star which possesses low-level laws and thin, turbid energy, it could be said to be beyond remarkable. Moreover, Mu Bingyun's eyes flashed with the luster of ice crystals. You are even the master of the Sky Poison Pearl, an ancient divine treasure. Xianxia slowly got up from the ice chair. However, he immediately understood in his mind, yet it was already too late to cover up or find an excuse. He could only speak helplessly. All right, you win. The hell. Just from looking at her eyes, he was actually thrown off guard a little. This woman, why did she have to possess such beautiful eyes? Infuriating. This is too infuriating. It seems that is truly the Sky Poison Pearl. Within Mu Bingyun's snowy eyes that could even have the stars in the sky lose their color, a hint of true shock finally flashed. Do not worry, I will not tell anyone about this matter. Since you saved my life, how could I possibly do something that could harm you? Without needing Xianxia's warning or request, Mu Bingyun had already taken the initiative to bring up this issue. Closing her eyes, in an instant, it felt as if the entire snow-congealing hall had dimmed a little. Since it's the Sky Poison Pearl, it seems my lifespan can indeed be extended from this moment on. Though he long had prepared himself mentally, when Mu Bingyun instantly discerned, or to be more exact, when he was tricked into exposing the Sky Poison Pearl, he still felt a little dejected. He could not help but ask, Fairy Mu, you shouldn't have seen the Sky Poison Pearl before, right? Furthermore, according to my knowledge, even in your God realm, the Sky Poison Pearl is merely a rumor, and it has never been seen by anyone. How are you so sure that I am using the Sky Poison Pearl to expel the poison in your body? Mu Bingyun gently said, It was just a guess that suddenly flashed past my mind. The poison in my body has already existed for 1,000 years, and I am more aware than anyone of its terrifying strength. Even my elder sister can do nothing about it. But you were actually able to achieve such progress in a short hour. It was impossible for me not to think of the legend that originated from the primordial era. The corners of Xianxia's lips twitched. It seemed like it was best to be more cautious when tending to the injuries of others in the future. He had to slow down the pace as much as possible. Poison that could be purified in 10 breaths had to be dragged from 10 days to half a month. However, the poison in Mu Bingyun's body was too intense, and her life was in peril, so he could not possibly spare any effort at all. Facing only her back view, Xianxia's emotions could finally ease a little. The colors in his eyes slightly changed, and he finally could not hold it back any longer. Fairy Mu, I am absolutely confident that I will be able to purify all of the poison in your body in 1 month. After that, your damaged essence and profound energy should be able to recover rapidly as well. However, I did not save you without a cost. I have a condition. Please speak. Mu Bingyun's voice was still really light and gentle, as if it was snow fluttering in the wind. Xianxia raised his head and spoke while suppressing his excitement. I want you to take me to the God realm. Chapter 939, Farewell. Mu Bingyun turned around. Her pure eyes looked at him once more. That's it. Those 2 soft words instantly cleared all the nervousness in Xianxia's heart and replaced it with endless joy. He hurried replied, Yes, that's it. I only have that one request. At my current strength, I am not able to go to your world, and I don't know how long I need to wait before I possess enough strength, but I have a reason to absolutely must go there within a short period of time. So, if you are willing to bring me to the God realm, I will definitely spare no effort during this month. Xianxia's excitement was clearly visible to Mu Bingyun. She was shocked inwardly and slowly nodded. Xiaolan's dimensional stone is able to bring an additional person back to the Snow Song realm. This compared to you saving my life is rather easy. Can I really? But ought there to be some kind of special restriction or prohibition? Xianxia could hardly believe that it was true for a moment. The realm of the gods, the higher plane realm in which Jasmine resided in, was also at the highest level of the current primal chaos dimension. Even though he was the strongest person in the profound sky continent, the realm of the gods was still in existence similar to myths. There is no restriction or prohibition. Mu Bingyun slightly shook her head. Instead, we have countless numbers of profound practitioners from lower realms who have reached the divine way come every year. Upon reaching the divine realm, they are able to travel through the void and reach the realm of the gods. In the god realm, this process is called ascension. My snow song realm would receive a great amount of lower realm ascended profound practitioners. Though they are from the lower realms, none are not personages of excellence, and a few among them are even qualified to join Ice Phoenix Palace. As for bringing those from another realm to the snow song realm, that isn't a big deal. It's just that with your profound level, you may be able to defy the world here, but in the snow song realm, it would be difficult to say the least. Moreover, from what I have seen, you are not one so foolish as to wholeheartedly pursue the peak of the profound way. Are you certain that you want to accompany me back to the snow song realm? Yes, incomparably certain. Though I am indeed not someone who wants to go to a higher level plane because I want to use all means to pursue the profound way, I do have another reason to have to go there. Xianxia said heavily, both hands already silently tightened. Jasmine, wait for me. I'll be there soon. No matter what, I have to see you again, even if all I get is a complete farewell. If that is the case, then it's best if you make preparations as soon as possible. Mu Bingyun stared at him deeply and continued softly. In the month Xiaolan and I are staying here, I will be disclosing matters about the god realm to you. You should also prepare your farewells to those by your side. The doors of the snow congealing hall finally opened, and Xianxia came out from within. By his side was a woman who seemed to have walked out from a painting. She had an otherworldly proudness and was as brilliant as an immortal. Master! Mu Xiaolan's shout was filled with boundless joy. She quickly ran over and saw that her master's complexion had now obviously held some color. Then she noticed her aura, which was several times stronger than before and was so moved that tears instantly tumbled down. Ooh! Master, are you all right? Are you really all right now? Mu Bingyun reached out and gently stroked Mu Xiaolan's head. Xiaolan, I've worried you again, but from now on, it seems like our master and disciple relationship will still have a long future ahead of us. Ooh, wah! Mu Bingyun's words made the soft cries of Mu Xiaolan turn into a loud wail. She tightly hugged Mu Bingyun and cried loudly, not caring about how she looked. Hey, little miss! Only after waiting until she had cried long enough did Xianxia finally speak out in a gloomy voice. Aren't you forgetting to thank this great savior who saved your master's life? Mu Xiaolan wiped the tears hanging from her face and looked at Xianxia, but her eyes were distinctively on guard. You didn't take advantage of the situation to do anything untoward to my master, did you? Mu Bingyun. The corner of Xianxia's mouth twitched, then he sighed lightly and slowly replied. Little miss, you'd better clearly remember what you said today. I'll be sure to not let you say that in vain. Mu Xiaolan. Senior. Murong Xianxia and the others came before Mu Bingyun, her serious face carrying a slight trace of fear. Are you really the Frozen Cloud ancestor who founded Frozen Cloud Asgard 1,000 years ago? Before Mu Bingyun had time to reply, Xianxia had already nodded deeply. Fairy Mu is indeed the Frozen Cloud ancestor. The reason why she has appeared here is because she wanted to see Frozen Cloud Asgard one more time before she met her end. Ah! Murong Xianxia and the others gasped in shock. Then they all paid respects at the same time. Frozen Cloud Disciple greets Senior Ancestor Bingyun. You don't have to do that. Everyone rise. Mu Bingyun's snowy hand gently lifted. They were all instantly supported up by a gentle force and couldn't help but all rise. When I left Frozen Cloud Asgard 1,000 years ago, I was supposed to be resolute in cutting off all ties and should not have worried about it anymore. But in the end, I was still unable to have a detached heart of ice. Mu Bingyun explained unhurriedly. Particularly during the few years where her life was approaching its end, she was never able to stop thinking about Frozen Cloud Asgard and worry about its 1,000-year calamity. That was, after all, what she was worried about the most. Those years were the most unforgettable years of her life. Every disciple of Frozen Cloud Asgard's first generation that she had taken in carried a strand of her lifeblood. It was as if they were her children. Master, this has nothing to do with the detached heart of ice realm. It's just that you are too kind-hearted, Mu Xiaolan replied with sparkling eyes. Besides, it's because you established Frozen Cloud Asgard and also because you always thought about it that you received such a compensation for your kindness. This is great. The Great Realm King will definitely be happy after receiving this news. Xianxia raised his brows, Great Realm King. Mu Bingyun did not respond, but what Mu Xiaolan had said softened her gaze. The corners of her mouth had also hooked slightly, forming a light smile that was beautiful to the point of being illusory. I never expected that you had always been alive, Senior Ancestor. If the previous generations were to hear of this news, they would definitely. Murong Xianxia was so moved that she didn't even know how to describe her feelings. Then we'll gather all of the Asgard's disciples. Senior ancestors' descent is the happiest occasion in our frozen cloud Asgard's 1,000-year history, stated Jun Lianqi. No need. Mu Bingyun had actually declined the proposal. I am not someone from this world. If not for this unexpected accident, I would have never appeared before you all again. It's best to not disclose this matter to the public, otherwise it is possible that this may bring about unknown troubles. Senior Masters, Junior Masters, I agree that we should keep this matter to only the few of us, Yun-Chi stated. His gaze also swept past the bodies of the group of frozen cloud members before he said seriously, I also have something to announce. More than 2 years have already passed since the former Asgard mistress entrusted me with the Asgard master position. Even though this period of time has been incessantly turbulent, I have at long last not let down the former Asgard mistress. Yun-Chi rarely showed such a serious expression on his face, so Murong Xianxia and the rest all silently listened, confused as to why he had said those words. Now that frozen cloud Asgard has been gloriously reborn and the former calamity will no longer happen, I can finally be at ease. Yun-Chi stretched out a hand. Following a flash of blue light, the frozen cloud celestial soul floated in the air. Senior Master Murong, starting from today, I formally give the position of Frozen Cloud Asgard's Asgard Mistress to you. Murong Xianxia was completely dumbfounded as Jun Lianqi and the rest cried out in alarm. Asgard Master, why? Why are you suddenly passing on your position? Asgard Master, you don't want us anymore. Feng Hanyu and Feng Hangsu nearly cried. No, no, no. Yun-Chi hurriedly explained. I'm definitely not abandoning you guys, just abandoning the Asgard Master name. On the contrary, what I feel for Frozen Cloud Asgard is not inferior to anyone here. When I was protecting you all these years, I have always enjoyed it. I liked it so much that I would be willing to protect Frozen Cloud Asgard if you guys were not opposed to it. It's just that, I have already decided to follow Fairy Mu to the realm of the gods in a month's time. This time, Feng Zuer shouted out in surprise. Illusory Demon Realm, Demon Imperial Palace. What did you say? God Realm. Hearing Yun-Chi's words, the little demon empress' reaction was as violent as expected. Even her aura had become somewhat disorderly. Little demon empress sis, hurry up and convince big brother Yun. Feng Zuer's lovely eyes were somewhat teary. She had already heard stories about the God Realm. There were many experts there, stronger than what they could possibly imagine, and numerous unknown dangers present. Even getting there and coming back was something they could not possibly imagine. Yun-Chi was the absolute supreme existence of the profound sky continent. None were his match, nor would they dare to provoke him. In order to reach this level where he now possessed everything, it was unknown just how many times he had tottered between life and death. And now, he was actually abandoning it all to head for the realm of the gods that no one had actually reached before. An unfathomable distance and plane existed between the blue pole star and the realm of the gods. If he were to really go to the God realm, it wasn't known how long until they could meet again. Furthermore, they were the ones who knew Yun-Chi best. No matter where he was, no matter what situation he was in, he could never be the type of person who would swallow their cries and endure humiliation. Forget about a huge humiliation. He wasn't even able to take a small slight. If he were to go to a place where gods roamed everywhere, each step he took would be extremely dangerous. So how could they possibly be at ease? Kei Zuer, I know that my decision is really selfish, Yun-Chi said guiltily. Xuanyuan Wenchen died just half a year ago. The profound sky continent and the illusory demon realm have finally become peaceful with great difficulty, and now I suddenly come out with this kind of decision. However, I really do have a reason why I must go. Reason? What reason? The little demon empress slightly bit her lip as her chest heaved. To her, Yun-Chi's decision simply came out of the blue. Big brother Yun, you want to find your master, right? Su Linger came over and said gently. Yes, Yun-Chi nodded. The reason why I never brought up matters about my master Jasmine is because there is simply too much to say. Even if I were to say it out loud, it would be hard for you all to understand. We met 8 years ago. That was when I was at my lowest, most helpless period of time. At that time, I helplessly looked on as grandfather and Lynxie were being bullied, then was kicked out like some dog. Even pouncing and taking a bite out of them was impossible. However, when she appeared, she changed my entire life. If not for her, the current me would not exist. I probably wouldn't even be fortunate enough to have you all. You might not understand this, but since the time we met, we never left each other. She changed my entire life and is also the person who knows and understands me the most in this world. Since the very start, I sensed that I was dependent on her. But after we separated, that was when I realized that the dependence I felt for her far surpassed my expectations. Furthermore, our separation was so sudden and hurried that I still have not left the day of her sudden departure. Xianxia sighed deeply, his eyes still filled with the image of Jasmine. Since she left, I miss her terribly every day. The more time passed since her departure, the stronger this feeling got. It got to the point where I would even dream of her almost nightly. After a while, every time I thought about her, an indescribable unease would surface in my heart, one that made me feel like I would never see her again. This kind of feeling terrified me. Afterwards, the Golden Crow soul suddenly said something weird to me. It said that if I don't see her within 5 years, I may never get to see her again in my entire life. The little demon empress, Feng Zuer, Big Brother Yun. Xianxia closed his eyes, not daring to meet their eyes, because he was well aware that this selfishness of his would give them an incredibly heavy unease and worry, and it would also cause them to be separated for a long time. However, if he did not meet Jasmine, his soul would probably never be complete for his entire life. The demon imperial palace quieted. The little demon empress eyes stared fixedly at Xianxia, but after seeing the instant of pain that flashed past in his expression, her heart instantly softened. The little demon empress turned around, and her voice suddenly changed to become incomparably tranquil. "All right then, Zuer and I will accompany you." Xianxia knew she would say those words because when they were returning here, Feng Zuer said the same exact words, but he could only shake his head. The teleportation formation they used to return to the God realm can only bring one person back. The little demon empress' entire body stiffened, and she didn't say anything for a long time. "Little demon empress sis, just let Big Brother Yun go." Su Linger stood by Xianxia's side. Both her arms hugged him as she said gently, "Because he is just that type of person, and what I like is exactly this kind of Big Brother Yun." The little demon empress' petite body slightly trembled. After a long while, she slowly lifted her head and said faintly, "Yes, he has always been this kind of person. Otherwise, how could I fall in love with him?" Chapter 942 promises Big Brother Yun. Feng Zuer said softly, "If you can never see her ever again, will you really be unhappy for the rest of your life?" Xianxia shook his head, looked at Feng Zuer and said, "With you all by my side, how could I be unhappy? But there would be a gap in my soul that could never be filled. Back then, it was my hesitation that made me lose the little fairy forever. I don't want to suffer the same thing a second time." "Little demon empress Sister Zuer, let him go," Su Linger said quietly. She was the only one who hadn't spoken out in objection this whole time. "What use would our objections be?" the little demon empress said faintly. "For the things that he is determined to do, when has there ever been anyone who could really stop him?" Just as Xianxia was about to say something, the little demon empress suddenly interrupted him. "Xianxia, I know I cannot stop you. You must know better than all of us what kind of place the God realm is. If you are still determined to go, that means to you, there is a reason why you absolutely have to go. As your woman, how can I stop you?" Xianxia's eyes moved slightly. He never thought that the little demon empress, with her strong temperament, would agree this easily. His heart felt warm, but at the same time he felt guilty. "But you must promise me 2 things. The little demon empress voice suddenly became cold. Every word was filled with an irresistible force. "If you promise to do these 2 things, I will agree to the healing method that you and Linger have proposed, and you can head to the God realm without having to worry about me. Or else," before she could even say the words after, "or else," Xianxia had already hugged her tender body from behind. "Kei, I know you always tolerate me. I will give you my word now, this will be the last time of me being selfish. No matter what you want me to do this time, I will promise you." "Tolerate? You really think I want to tolerate?" The little demon empress said softly in her mind, "If your soul is incomplete, you wouldn't be the only one broken. Okay, remember what you've said." The little demon empress closed her eyes and tried her best to make her own words colder and more determined than before. "The first thing I want you to promise me is, you absolutely can't die." Xianxia nodded his head slowly and said in a soft voice, "Kei, Zuer, Linger, don't worry. I am not going to the God realm to seek the divine way, and I'm not going to seek revenge on someone. I just want to see my master again. There won't be any danger. Since I saved Mu Bingyun's life and have a relationship with Frozen Cloud Asgard, after she takes me to God realm, she will definitely protect me and help me." I think it would be difficult to get into danger even if I want to. So you don't have to worry too much, all right, all right, all right. I'll give my word first. After I have arrived in the God realm, I definitely will not go near anything dangerous. After seeing my master, I will come back without losing a single hair. Back then, when you were returning from the illusory demon realm to the profound sky continent, you said something similar to that, the little demon empress said coldly. But when I saw you again, you were already half dead. Xianxia was speechless for a while and then finally said embarrassingly, "Then I'll promise again, okay? With your personality, what use is there even if you promise 10 million times?" The little demon empress said coldly. "I only wish that when you are about to do something dangerous, you will think about what I said today. Think about your parents, your grandfather, your Kangyu, your Zuer, your Linger, your Lingxi, and me. Think about if you died in the God realm, how many people would be miserable for all their lives because of you. And these are all the people who care and worry about you the most." "I know." Xianxia's arms hugged even tighter at this moment. These words of hers touched him from the bottom of his heart. "Over the past years, I made you all worry so much, but this time it's different than the times from before. Whether it's the profound sky continent or the illusory demon realm, there are too many things that I must protect with all my power, including you all. This time going to the God realm, however, I only want to see one person. After fulfilling that wish, I will come back immediately. I promise to you all, during this period of time, I will definitely not do anything dangerous. Even if there is any possibility of danger, I will definitely not get close, okay? Big brother Yun, you must remember your promise." Thinking about the coming farewell, Feng Zuer was trying hard to hold back her tears since the very beginning, but her eyes still reddened by the moment. "The second thing." The little demon empress took a small breath. Her sizable breasts gently rose and fell. "You said earlier the Golden Crow divine god told you that you have to see her within 5 years or else there would be no possibility of ever seeing her again. Then at most 5 years. Within 5 years, whether you see her or not, you have to come back, not even 1 day more." "Okay," Xianxia agreed without hesitation. "I promise you all within 5 years, whether I have found her or not, I will definitely come back." After leaving Demon Imperial Palace, the sky had already completely darkened. Going to the God realm was something too significant. He might be gone for many years. After notifying the little demon empress and the others, he still needed to go inform his parents, Blue Wind Imperial City's Kangyu, Floating Cloud City's grandfather and Lingxi, and Absolute Monarch Sanctuary's Xia Yuanba. Su Linger accompanied him by his side. "Linger, about this matter, am I too selfish and over the line?" Xianxia sighed and asked. He felt that his decision would mess up the moods and lives of everyone around him. Su Linger smiled and shook her head. "Half a year ago, didn't you do something similar to this? And that time it was for me. You forcefully headed to the Azure Cloud continent and hid it from everyone else so that they wouldn't worry. Compared to this time, that seemed more selfish. But if it weren't for your selfishness, I might not have been able to meet you again in my life. Linger, big brother Xianxia, there are a lot of people in your heart, but you are very serious and persistent towards each and every person. This is also why all of them are willing to tie their hearts onto you. You are the same towards your master, and I believe she is absolutely not as heartless towards you as she appeared to be when she left. Big brother Xianxia, good luck in the God realm. Find your master Jasmine soon and then come back early. Each and every one of us will wait for you day and night." There was a smile on Su Linger's lovely face, but tears were hidden behind her beautiful eyes. They were separated for a lifetime, and under the wheel of destiny, they finally met again. But after only a short half a year, they faced separation again. She was more unwilling and worried than anyone else. "Linger, thank you." Xianxia felt extremely warm in his heart. "Between us, words of gratitude are unnecessary." Su Linger leaned her body on Xianxia's chest and said softly, "Linger, I still need you to do one thing for me." Xianxia looked forward, and his gaze became distant. "In at most 2 or 3 years of time, Zuer's profound strength will break through the sovereign profound and enter the true divine profound realm. And by that time, if I'm still not back, she might go to the God realm to look for me. When that time comes, you must help me stop her. Big brother Xianxia, don't worry. Even without me, little demon Empress Sis would stop her, and Sister Zuer wouldn't be that impulsive. Or else, they would have insisted on going with you to the God realm. Even though Fairy Mu and her disciple can only take one more person, you could bring them all along using the primordial profound arc. Did you really think they wouldn't have thought of that?" answered Su Linger softly. Xianxia suddenly became speechless. "Heh," Su Linger suddenly chuckled. Little demon Empress Sis and Sister Zuer aren't unaware of their own beauty. One is the #1 beauty of the Illusory Demon Realm, the other is the #1 beauty of the profound Sky Continent. Even I, a girl, often get enchanted just by looking at them. The men in the God Realm would go mad if they saw them. If they accompanied you to the God Realm, they would bring you endless trouble. It is actually much safer for you to go alone. I'm suddenly wondering if you will bring along a few of the goddesses from the sky the day you come back. Ha ha ha, how would that be possible? Xianxia started laughing. That's very possible. Su Linger looked at him, her simmering eyes transparent with seriousness. After all, my big brother Xianxia is the best man in the entire world. Even the goddesses of the sky must not have seen a perfect man like my big brother Xianxia. Maybe they would all be captivated by you. I think it would be better for father, mother, me, and the other sisters to be prepared early. Ha 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 ha! Xianxia hugged Su Linger tight and started laughing loudly, his mood instantly a lot better. Xianxia solemnly told everyone around about his decision to go to the God Realm. There was still a month before his departure with Mu Bingyun and her disciple. During this month, he stopped training and spent every day with his family and beauties. At the same time, he would take 4 hours every day to expel the poison from Mu Bingyun. Under the strong purification power of the sky poison pearl, the 1,000-year toxin in Mu Bingyun's body became weaker every day, and there were no longer signs of it spreading again. Starting from the 5th day, Xianxia stopped needing the support of the power of Rage God. With Mu Bingyun's own profound energy slowly recovering, her body quickly derived an increasingly rich and boundless vitality. This day, after expelling the poison from Mu Bingyun once again, Xianxia retrieved his palms. A flash of golden crow flames lit up on his body and dried up all the condensed ice crystals formed from his sweat. Mu Bingyun sat up from the ice bed, her eyes focused on Xianxia. For a moment, she spoke slowly. Even without the blood and soul of the Ice Phoenix as base, you were still able to forcefully cultivate the Ice Phoenix God investiture canon. This is already extremely abnormal, and you actually own the Golden Crow God's power at the same time. Water and fire conflict with each other. Not only did you fuse them both in your body, you can control it with such freedom. It is really unbelievable. Xianxia's mind turned quickly, trying to come up with an explanation. To be able to achieve these two things, perhaps the legendary 9 profound exquisite body, that appears once in several million years that can escape the nature's laws and limits can do it. But the 9 profound exquisite body only appears in women. Mu Bingyun's eyes slightly condensed as she looked at Xianxia. Could you have dual cultivated with a woman who has 9 profound exquisite body? Possibly. Xianxia casually prevaricated, but he moaned in his heart. King Yu, my wife does indeed have the 9 profound exquisite body. I would like to, but she never let me touch her. King Yu, Xianxia suddenly lifted his head and asked, Fairy Mu, where would the teleportation formation that you left in the Frozen End Divine Hall back then send people to? Mu Bingyun heard the question, but she shook her head slightly. I don't know. 1,000 years ago, because of the 1,000-year calamity prophecy that the Heaven's Fate clan made for Frozen Cloud Asgard, I was afraid that the prophecy might become true. I left a thread of hope for the Frozen Cloud Asgard in calamity by releasing the power of the dimensional stone and forging that simple dimensional teleportation formation. However, its target location was specified, so I have no way of knowing where it would teleport someone. But I know that the power of dimensional stone can send someone extremely far away. Even reaching the God Realm is not an impossibility. I see. Even though he already knew that this was most likely the answer, Xianxia was still very disappointed. Before I knew it, it had been over 5 years since we last saw each other. King Yu, where are you now? Chapter 941. The Humongous God Realm Heads Up. Huge Info Dump. Fairy Mu, may I trouble you to tell me about the God Realm, for example, things about your Snow Song Realm? Xianxia barely knew anything about the realm of the gods. The only source of information was when Jasmine occasionally mentioned it. Since the Snow Song Realm was the first star realm in the God Realm that he was heading for, he should at least make the most basic preparations. Back then, Mu Bingyun had voluntarily mentioned that she would tell Xianxia about the God Realm. Now that Xianxia asked, Mu Bingyun nodded before narrating. The realm of the gods was the dwelling place of the gods and devils during the primordial era. Even though the era of gods and devils has come to an end, and there are no longer any true gods in this world, many mystical treasures were left in the places they formerly lived in. Some gods that were unwilling to just disappear also left behind their bloodline, profound arts, or even soul inheritances. The most important point is that because it is the place where gods and devils resided several billion years ago, its elemental aura is incredibly rich. As such, its laws far surpasses those of other planes. There, the speed at which one progresses in the profound way is far beyond other worlds. The breaking through of realms and the comprehension of laws is also much simpler than in other worlds. When Mu Bingyun explained up to this point, she silently glanced at Xianxia. Since you were able to advance at such a shocking speed in the profound sky continent that possesses such thin, turbid aura and inferior laws, if you were to be in the snow song realm, it is extremely possible that you would be the same as Xiaolan and step into the divine way before the age of 20. Xianxia listened earnestly and nodded. Mu Xiaolan was only 19 this year. Her frightening strength was, as expected, already in the divine way. The divine way Xuanyuan Wenchen had been frenziedly pursuing had already been achieved by a little girl of 19 in the god realm. If this master and disciple pair had come half a year earlier, and Mu Xiaolan stood in front of Xuanyuan Wenchen, he'd reckon that he wouldn't even need to come out. Xuanyuan Wenchen would directly die from anger. This means that little girl cough cough cough, I mean Mu Xiaolan should also be a rare talent in the god realm, Xianxia asked. It is only natural for someone able to enter the Ice Phoenix Palace to have a good aptitude, Mu Bingyun said matter-of-factly. A streak of an inexpressible complexity flashed in the depths of her eyes as she continued. Xiaolan must have somewhat misunderstood you, which caused her to say somewhat hostile things to you, but she is a really good child. These years have also been harsh on her. Xianxia gaped in shock, because Mu Bingyun's evaluation of Mu Xiaolan was clearly good. To the profound sky continent, a 19-year-old who stepped into the divine way would definitely have no predecessors or successors. But in the god realm, no, their snow song realm, it was merely good. How terrifying was this snow song realm? He had been called the foremost person in history in both the profound sky continent and the illusory demon realm. With the strength that was dubbed the foremost person in history in this world, what level would he be at in the snow song realm? What level would he be at in the entire god realm? This question might be a bit offensive. After a period of dumbfoundedness, Xianxia still asked in the end, what rank is the snow song realm at in the entire god realm? Mu Bingyun did not frown due to his clearly ill-mannered question. She replied indifferently, the realm of the gods is not as big as you are imagining it to be. There are only a total of 40,000 star realms, and each star realm is divided according to their strength level. There are lower star realms, middle star realms, and upper star realms. There are 30,000 lower star realms, 8,000 middle star realms, and the 2,000 that remain are the strongest upper star realms. Xianxia's mouth gaped yet again and didn't close for a long while. A total of 40,000 star realms, and this wasn't considered big? What? Even though Xianxia had lived for 2 lifetimes, he had never left the Blue Pole Star. Jasmine had also said before that the Blue Pole Star couldn't even be considered a star realm. It could at most be considered a planet. A small planet at that. With his 2 lifetimes of knowledge, it was still fundamentally impossible for him to imagine what kind of concept a humongous world that possessed a total of 40,000 star realms was. Every single one of them far surpassed the Blue Pole Star as well. In the Blue Pole Star, whether it be the profound sky continent, the illusory demon realm, or the azure cloud continent, those who were able to traverse through all 3 continents at once were few in number. And it was possible that there wasn't anyone who could do so. In the primal chaos dimension, the Blue Pole Star was but a mere drop in the ocean, or perhaps it couldn't even amount to a mere drop in the ocean. Based on total power alone, the Snow Song realm is considered a middle realm. Mu Bingyun continued. However, our Snow Song realm's Great Realm King is ranked in the highest dimensional experts of the divine way. As such, the Snow Song realm belongs to the highest echelons of 8,000 middle star realms. Even those upper star realms do not dare to easily offend us. In other words, the Snow Song realm's overall strength made it a middle star realm, but their Great Realm King was no weaker than an upper star realm's Great Realm King. Great Realm King? Xianxia asked in confusion. Great Realm Kings are the star realm's kings. They are the supreme rulers of their respective star realms. They could be the star realm's strongest expert in the profound way or the person with the highest authority in the star realm. After a slight pause, she hesitated a bit before continuing. Our Snow Song realm's Great Realm King is my elder sister. I see. Xianxia nodded slowly and remained shocked for a long time. The god realm was unimaginable, utterly terrifying and humongous. In the world of gods, what kind of person could one who ranked among the top be like? It was no wonder how Mu Bingyun had managed to stay alive under such a poison for 1,000 years. Her big sister was the Snow Song Realm's Great Realm King, so she naturally was able to transfer the Snow Song Realm's resources at will. It seemed like once he arrived in the Snow Song Realm, he should try to get acquainted with the Great Realm King through Mu Bingyun if he had the opportunity. If he was able to latch onto a huge leg like that, it would be 100 times easier for him to move about in the God realm, even if the possibility of that happening was next to impossible. Then, what level does the Star God realm belong in? Xianxia appeared to have said that casually, but his mind slightly tensed. Star God realm? Mu Bingyun's gaze slightly shifted. How do you know about the Star God realm? For a moment, Xianxia wasn't sure how to answer her. Seeing his reluctant expression, Mu Bingyun didn't continue asking and instead answered, the Star God realm does not exist within the 3-star realm levels. Eh? Xianxia wore a look of surprise. Because the Star God realm is a king realm which has transcended the upper star realms. King? Realm? Xianxia's heart thumped, transcended the upper star realms. The God realm's 40,000 star realms are divided into 4 divine regions. The Eastern Divine Region, the Southern Divine Region, the Western Divine Region, and the Northern Divine Region. Among them, the Western Divine Region is the largest, with the Eastern Divine Region being second largest. Aside from the 40,000 lower, middle, and upper star realms, there are also 17 king realms that stand at the summit of the entire God realm. It could even be said that they are the king realms that rule over the entire God realm. Of these 17 king realms, there are 6 in the Western Divine Region, 4 in the Eastern Divine Region, 3 in the Northern Divine Region, and 4 in the Southern Divine Region. Our Snow Song Realm is located in the north of the Eastern Divine Region, and the Star God Realm you inquired about is also in the Eastern Divine Region. It is one of the 4 great king realms there, a transcendent existence that even my Snow Song Realm can only look up to. Mu Bingyun gazed attentively at Xianxia. You know so little about the God realm, yet you suddenly ask about the Star God realm. Could it be that the reason why you insist on heading to the God realm is related to the Star God realm? Xianxia was silent for a long time. His entire body stiffened slightly as he felt colder by the second. At that moment, he suddenly felt his own insignificance and naivety. He was aware that searching for Jasmine this time would be incomparably difficult. He knew that it would be harder for him to see her the higher rank this Star God realm was. Even though he knew the name Star God realm, it was at this moment that he finally understood its standing from Mu Bingyun. The Star God realm Jasmine resided in was actually at such a terrifyingly high level. Even though everyone in the God realm that he wasn't able to get to with his own ability were all ruler-level existences. In front of such a colossus, he might not even be comparable to a grain of sand before a blue ocean. So how could he possibly see Jasmine? On the sole basis that his heart longed for it. Seeing that he suddenly stopped talking, his complexion turning all the more heavy and dark, Mu Bingyun slightly furrowed her crescent brows. It seems that your insistence in heading for the God realm really does have something to do with the Star God realm. Can I trust you? Xianxia slightly gritted his teeth as he started being conscious of how hard a thing searching for Jasmine was. Furthermore, he basically did not know a single thing about the boundless world of gods. The only person he could rely on was the Mu Bingyun in front of him. Mu Bingyun turned around, and her unearthly, icy eyes calmly gazed at him. You saved my life and also saved Frozen Cloud Asgard. I'm unable to guarantee how much of a help I can repay you with, but at the very least, I won't do anything that will bring you harm. Xianxia's chest heaved up and down. He exhaled with difficulty and then said softly, the reason why I want to go to the God realm is to look for a person, the Star God realms, Heavenly Slaughter Star God. What? Mu Bingyun, who had been as calm as water toward her recovery, actually had a change in expression in that instant. Her eyes severely contracted as great shock shone on her snowy cheeks. Then, she seemed to have immediately thought of something, and the shock on her snowy face gradually subsided. However, an odd look was now in her eyes. So that's what happened. When the Heavenly Slaughter Star God disappeared all these years ago, she came to this world. This time, however, it was Xianxia who received a great shock. What did you say? No need to be shocked. Mu Bingyun shook her head. You do not understand what kind of an existence a star god is in the God realm. The fall of a star god is enough to cause a great commotion in the god realm. The star god realm is a king realm situated at the pinnacle of the realm of the gods. The 12 star gods in the star god realm are existences only second to their great realm king. The power they possess is enough to make all profound practitioners in the divine way tremble just by hearing their names. It is something you cannot possibly imagine. Around 8 or 9 years ago, the Snow Song realm heard rumors that the heavenly slaughter star god of the star god realm had been secretly plotted against and died from a highly toxic poison. It gave rise to great waves within the god realm for several years. Then, we later heard rumors that she was actually still alive. It wasn't until recently that hearsay became truth when many star realms received news that the heavenly slaughter star god had already peacefully returned to the star god realm. However, no one knew where she had been in these past years. Xianxia. Mu Bingyun stared deeply at Xianxia. I can easily deduce that from your words, and your reaction also tells me the answer. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this. You should not mention this to anyone either. Can you tell me what I should do if I want to see her, or what methods to use? Determination and longing condensed within Xianxia's eyes. So my Jasmine was actually that strong of a person. It was no wonder that she felt that everyone and everything was beneath her. It was actually not because of her temperament, but because of the level she was at. To her, everything in this world really was as lowly as an ant. Aside from me, Mu Bingyun shook her head. I would advise you to give up. The plane in which the star god realm exists in is simply not something you are capable of understanding. Forget about seeing her. Even entering the star god realm is something that is nearly impossible, unless you work hard for thousands and thousands of years. What Mu Bingyun had said did not discourage Xianxia. He slowly tightened his fists, tightly gritted his teeth, and suddenly enunciated every one of his words. I've always believed in one phrase, and my entire life has always proven this phrase in this world: nothing is impossible. At this moment, a frightening depth appeared in Xianxia's eyes. His eyes actually caused Mu Bingyun's detached soul to mysteriously feel touched. She had never felt anything similar to this emotion in the several thousand years she lived in the god realm. Since you are this determined, Mu Bingyun stated indifferently, there might be a method you can try. What method? Xianxia abruptly raised his head. Join my Divine Ice Phoenix sect and become my Divine Ice Phoenix sect's disciple, Mu Bingyun said with incredible calm. At first, Xianxia was stunned, but he continued listening. Movements in the god realm were much different in recent years than they had been in the past. Especially the great king realms, various abnormal changes have happened within them all. 8 years ago, the Eternal Sky Realm, one of the great king realms, had announced an earth-shattering event. Eternal Sky Realm. This name instantly stirred Xianxia's heart. Of the 7 great profound treasures, the 4th place treasure was called the Eternal Sky Pearl. And this star realm was called the Eternal Sky Realm. Could the two have some sort of connection with each other? The new Eastern Profound God Convention would be held in the Eternal Sky Realm. Divine Regions, Profound God Convention. What's that? Xianxia asked. It is the most distinguished meeting in the history of the realm of the gods. The Eastern Divine Region has a total of 9,000 star realms. Aside from the 4 great king realms, all the star realms' profound strength are limited to a certain criterion, and any profound practitioner below the age of 60 is allowed to take part. The scale of the Profound God Convention is extremely huge, and every time it is held, a long period of preparations is needed, and huge damages would occur. The past Profound God Conventions would happen around every 3,000 years. Only 700 years have passed between this session and the last, and the preparation time of this session is severely shorter than the previous ones. The more Bingyun went into detail, the more puzzled Xianxia became. He asked, what you meant was for me to join your Divine Ice Phoenix sect and then represent your Divine Ice Phoenix sect in the Profound God Convention. Of course not. Mu Bingyun shook her head. The preparation time for this Profound God Convention is extremely short, only a mere 10 years. According to the time we have left, there are not even 3 years until the Profound God Convention begins. With your profound strength, you wouldn't even be qualified to participate when that time comes. Furthermore, there is no sectoral or star realm backing requirement to take part in the Profound God Convention. As long as the conditions are met, anyone can participate. The reason why I want you to become a Divine Ice Phoenix disciple is to make it more convenient for my sister to take you to the Eternal Sky Realm. When Mu Bingyun finished speaking, she had begun to think deeply about how she could persuade her elder sister. I still don't quite get it. Xianxia shook his head once more. Mu Bingyun explained, even though the four great king realms have never participated in the profound God convention, they have always jointly prepared, presided over, witnessed, and selected the area in which it would take place. A great deal of experts of the four great king realms would attend to watch the battles. This includes the star god Reem's 12 star gods. There has always been a place for the snow song realm in the spectator seats. I will persuade my sister to bring you to Eternal Sky Realm's meeting area. My sister is a person who knows gratitude. She shouldn't decline such a small repayment since you have saved my life. At that time, whether or not you get to see the person you wish you see will depend on your fate and good luck. Chapter 942, 7 Divine Profound Realms. Xianxia's unquenchable desire to see Jasmine again was incomparably strong. Unfortunately, though, he basically knew nothing about the God Realm. When he had heard of the God Realm's existence a while back, he drew a general outline in his mind, and always thought that it was a world similar to the blue pole star that was just 10 or even 100 times larger. It was only after hearing Mu Bingyun's depiction that he realized the disparity was not just how many times bigger it was in comparison. Whether it was the enormity of its size or profound strength level, the difference between them was like heaven and earth. When he basically knew nothing, he had promised the little demon empress and the rest that he would definitely return within 5 years. Although 5 years was not a long period of time in the blue pole star, it was still not a short period of time when it came to separation. However, in the terrifyingly humongous God realm, that was an unimaginably high plane of existence. 5 years was perhaps a short instant. Forget about seeing Jasmine or doing anything. He probably couldn't even leave the snow song realm relying on just his own strength. To him, the method Mu Bingyun proposed was undoubtedly a ray of hope that suddenly appeared in his deep haze of bewilderment. All right. Xianxia practically did not even think it over as he nodded deeply, both his heart and expression revealing deep gratitude. Mu Bingyun truly wanted to help him. Even though she played down a few words in order to help him, she had actively proposed that she ask the Snow Song Realm's Great Realm King. Though Xianxia had never been to the God Realm before, he could still imagine what kind of person the Great Realm King would be. All the star realms in the God Realm were supreme existences, yet in order to help a lower realm, nobody like him, she would go ask the Great Realm King for assistance. Fairy Mu, no matter what the outcome is, I will definitely remember your kindness, Xianxia stated earnestly. Mu Bingyun shook her head in response. You saved my life, so me helping you is a matter of course. This is the only method I could think of. However, you should also not hold too much hope. I had previously come up with quite a few reasons why you could have insisted on heading to the God Realm, but I never expected that it would actually be this shocking. I don't want to pour cold water over you, but regarding this matter, disregarding the fact that you are someone from a lower realm, even my Snow Song Realm's Great Realm King M. As though feeling that saying it out loud was a bit cruel, Mu Bingyun didn't continue her sentence. Furthermore, Xianxia wasn't someone from the God Realm. With just her words, it was fundamentally impossible for him to understand what kind of existence the star God Realm's heavenly slaughter god was in the God Realm. I know, Xianxia was no longer dispirited by her words, but I want to at least try. Otherwise, I'll never be reconciled my whole life. Even though you cannot enter Ice Phoenix Palace or Freezing Snow Hall with your aptitude and cultivation, you are still qualified to join Snowfall Palace. It's just that you'll probably endure some hardship as the lofty status you have on your continent will mean nothing there. Mu Bingyun continued. But I'm certain that with your aptitude, your advancement in the Snow Song Realm will be extraordinary. Entering Ice Phoenix Palace is just a matter of time. Ice Phoenix Palace, Freezing Snow Hall, Snowfall Palace, Xianxia muttered. Could they represent the 3 different divisions of power within your divine Ice Phoenix sect? You could say that, Mu Bingyun replied in a soft tone. Divine Ice Phoenix sect is the Snow Song Realm's core sect. The main sect master is the Great Realm King, but Divine Ice Phoenix sect is not a sect in which any ordinary profound practitioner can join. Those who are able to enter Freezing Snow Hall can be considered official disciples of Divine Ice Phoenix sect. Once your profound strength reaches the Divine Way, you will be in the Divine Origin Realm, and thus able to join Freezing Snow Hall. Freezing Snow Hall has a total of 108 halls, each holding 20,000 disciples. Above freezing snow hall are 36 ice phoenix palaces, each with an elder as palace master. If one is able to enter an ice phoenix palace, then they are a first-rate disciple in divine ice phoenix sect. In order to do so, their profound strength needs to either reach the divine soul realm or their aptitude has to be so great that they reached the divine origin realm before the age of 20. And above the ice phoenix palaces are the ice phoenix divine halls, places where core disciples are trained. As for Snowfall Palace, that is where half-official disciples whose profound strengths reached the sovereign profound realm and have yet to step into the divine way are placed. Even though disciples of Snowfall Palace can also enjoy the same corresponding resources, they only have half the time to cultivate. The other half of their time is allocated to manual labor. It could be said that if you join Snowfall Palace, you are half a disciple and half a laborer. Concealed within Mu Bingyun's calm voice was apology and helplessness. Because with Xianxia's profound strength, the only place he could enter was Snowfall Palace. In the Snow Song realm, this was right and proper, but compared to Xianxia's status as the overlord of this lower realm continent, this was an extreme drop in elevation that, without a doubt, had to be hard to accept. Xianxia was indeed stunned. Even though he knew that the God realm was extremely large, the sovereign profound realm, which symbolized the top existences in his world, was actually a level in which one didn't even qualify to be an official divine ice phoenix sect's disciple. It was only worthy of being half a disciple and half a laborer. This huge drop from heaven to earth caused Xianxia to feel indescribably wretched for a moment. But he then immediately asked, Divine Origin Realm, Divine Soul Realm, what kind of realms are those? Oh, Mu Bingyun revealed slight shock. It seems like you don't know the realms above the Sovereign Profound Realm. Xianxia nodded. The Sovereign Profound Realm is the pinnacle of this world. Even though there are legends of the Divine Profound Realm, it doesn't seem like anyone has reached it yet. As for the Divine Origin Realm and Divine Soul Realm you mentioned earlier, this is actually the first time I've heard about them. I see. Mu Bingyun nodded slightly. With this world's elements and laws, shedding mortality to become a god is indeed harder than scaling the heavens. Several lower realms are like this. After all, under the restriction of the elements and laws, the difference between a mortal and a god cannot be crossed by hard work, comprehension, or innate talent. The elementary profound realm, the nascent profound realm, the true profound realm, the spirit profound realm, the earth profound realm, the sky profound realm, the emperor profound realm, the tyrant profound realm, and the sovereign profound realm. The 9 realms of the profound way you are familiar with are known as the 9 mortal realms. Though they are 9 different realms, they can also be looked upon to be one great realm. And after stepping out of this great realm is when one would enter another entirely different great realm, which is what you know to be the divine profound realm. Xianxia listened seriously. Jasmine had also said something similar to this before. She had said that the divine profound realm was something that surpassed his understanding of the profound way. The difference between the sovereign profound realm and the divine profound realm was greater than he could possibly imagine. If the elementary profound realm to the sovereign profound realm were to be viewed as one great realm, then the divine profound realm was another great one. It was the difference between the heaven and earth. The divine profound realm is the name of a great realm. Profound practitioners who enter this realm have formally transcended mortality and stepped into the divine way. Compared to the 9 mortal realms, the divine profound realm is composed of 7 great realms, called the 7 divine profound realms. 7 divine profound realms, Xianxia involuntarily muttered. This was also the first time he had heard this name. Aside from 3 special realms, the 7 divine profound realms are no different from the 9 mortal realms. Each realm is yet again divided into 10 small realms. The first realm is the divine origin realm, which lets your vital energy become divine. This realm is the first step in entering the divine way. When you enter the divine origin realm, a qualitative change will happen to your life's vital energy. After entering the divine way, profound energy will once more temper your body, allowing you to separate from your mortal flesh and have a longer lifespan. It will give you an even more tenacious vitality and an even more impregnable body. The second realm is the divine soul realm, which lets your soul become divine. It is in this realm where a profound practitioner's soul undergoes a transformation. Reaching the divine soul realm will cause your soul to transcend the ordinary. You will possess even stronger willpower and mental power. Your comprehension toward profound arts and the laws of the world will also far surpass your former self. The third realm is relatively special. It is called the Divine Tribulation Realm. In this realm, only profound energy would experience an increase in growth, and no other change is accompanied by it. However, the word tribulation here is the nightmare of countless profound practitioners. Divine tribulation? What does that mean? Could it be that breaking into this realm is really dangerous? Asked Xianxia. A mortal cultivating to become God will meet the wrath of heaven. Mu Bingyun closed her eyes. Once you reach the peak of the 10th level of the Divine Tribulation Realm and try to forcibly break through into the next great realm, you will immediately trigger punishment from the heavens. Divine Heavenly Tribulation Lightning. Xianxia. Heavenly Tribulation Lightning is incomparably terrifying. If you can endure it without dying, then you can successfully break through. If you cannot resist it, becoming a cripple would be getting off lightly, and losing your life would be the heaviest outcome. Moreover, different profound practitioners undergo different heavenly lightning tribulations. For a profound practitioner, the lower their innate talent, the weaker the heavenly tribulation lightning. They would only encounter one tribulation lightning. More than 90% of the profound practitioners who long to break through the divine tribulation realm would usually have to endure one tribulation lightning. Though this is so, 60% of the profound practitioners still die beneath the tribulation lightning. By that standard, the higher one's innate talent is, the stronger the tribulation lightning they have to suffer. Those talented in the profound way usually have to endure 2 stages of tribulation lightning. As for those that are even more gifted, it is possible that they would have to bear 3 stages of tribulation lightning. Above that are the rarely seen peerless geniuses seen once every 100 years in the divine region who can attract 4 stages of tribulation lightning. Upon speaking to this point, Mu Bingyun sighed. This corresponds with the saying that the heavens are jealous of the gifted. The greater the aptitude, the more immeasurable one's future in cultivating the divine way would be, and the more they suffer from heaven's punishment. After all, man is man and God is God. If a man forcefully tries to attain divinity, it in itself is an act that goes against the heavens. 4 stages of tribulation lightning. Does that mean enduring 4 strikes of tribulation lightning? Xianxia asked in shock. No, Mu Bingyun shook her head. It's 4 stages. Furthermore, every stage of tribulation lightning is different. The first stage of tribulation lightning is made up of 1 strike of tribulation lightning. The second stage, 2 strikes. The third stage, however, has 4 strikes, and the fourth means enduring 8 simultaneous strikes. In total, it would a full 15 strikes of tribulation lightning. Furthermore, the interval between the 4 stages of tribulation lightning is extremely short, and there is no time to even breathe, let alone rest. It's actually like that? Xianxia's heart felt greatly shocked. Mu Bingyun had previously mentioned that simply the first stage of tribulation lightning caused 60% of profound practitioners to lose their lives during breakthrough. It wasn't difficult to imagine what the might of 1 strike of tribulation lightning was. Furthermore, 4 stages of tribulation lightning, 15 full strikes of tribulation lightning, and the last stage was enduring 8 strikes at the same time. Enduring 8 strikes simultaneously and enduring 1 strike 8 times were 2 completely different concepts. Then, is there anyone in the God realm that has withstood 4 stages of tribulation lightning? Xianxia asked. Of course there is, Mu Bingyun replied without hesitation. In the vast God realm with 40,000 star realms, among the quadrillion profound practitioners, there would be 1 stunning talent every once in a while. In the history of the God realm, there have been plenty that successfully endured 3 stages or even 4 stages of tribulation lightning. In the end, all of them had great achievements. They became either the ruler of a region or the king of a realm. My elder sister, who is now the great realm king of the Snow Song realm, withstood 4 stages of tribulation lightning back then. Xianxia's mouth widened uncontrollably. No wonder a realm king of a middle star realm would possess strength that was no weaker than that of an upper star realm. And in the history of the God realm, there was even one person who encountered 6 stages of tribulation lightning. 6 stages, Xianxia screamed out in shock. With each stage of lightning, the number of strikes would double. At the 4th stage, one would encounter 8 strikes. At the 5th stage, 16 strikes, and the 6th stage, 32 full strikes. Just how talented must one be to conjure that kind of tribulation lightning? That person was born in one of the upper star realms. The day he received his divine heavenly tribulation lightning, it shocked the entire God realm. However, he did not manage to surpass the tribulation and perished eventually. In spite of that, When the fifth stage of tribulation lightning completed, he was still alive, albeit on the brink of death. Simply this fact was sufficient for him to be added into the history books of the God realm. However, it's a pity 32 simultaneous strikes of tribulation lightning, with the body and profound strength of the divine tribulation realm, even if one was perfectly fine and not at the brink of death, there was no possibility or way of enduring it. Xianxia, Mu Bingyun grimly sighed. All these years, numerous talents had lost their lives under the divine heavenly tribulation lightning. This was why the divine tribulation realm has another name, the divine perishing realm. It was the realm where profound practitioners perished. To break through the divine tribulation realm, one would have to face the divine heavenly tribulation lightning. But holding on to one's life dearly is human instinct. Therefore, numerous profound practitioners choose to forever remain at the pinnacle of the divine tribulation realm, including numerous geniuses. After all, the more talented one is, the more likely he will perish under the divine heavenly tribulation lightning. That was also why after the divine tribulation realm, the number of profound practitioners vastly reduces. However, there are also exceptions, which are the king realms, Mu Bingyun added. The reason why king realms are powerful is because most of them possess strong and heaven-defying unique ways of inheritance. As long as they were compatible, they could instantly gain divine strength that normal profound practitioners cannot attain even if they spent their entire lives cultivating. At the same time, they could directly avoid the tribulation lightning as well. However, this exception only existed within the king realms. Furthermore, within the king realms, those that were able to attain such unique inheritances were extremely rare. Outside of the king realms, any profound practitioner would not be able to avoid the divine heavenly tribulation lightning when they break through the divine tribulation realm. Xianxia, Jasmine. Successfully withstanding the divine heavenly tribulation lightning, one would break through the divine tribulation realm and arrive at the fourth realm, the divine spirit realm. At this realm, one's spiritual senses vastly change. Upon entering the divine spirit realm, the world becomes completely different. All the senses of auras, elements, and laws undergo vast changes. Many profound arts that previously could not be understood and learned are easily be overcome at this realm. After making your vital energy, soul, and spiritual sense divine, it is time to completely transcend from the human realm. After the divine spirit realm is a realm that's even considered one of the upper realms, the divine king realm. After becoming divine king, one would be able to establish their own sect and become a grandmaster. In the vast lower star realms, one could even become the realm king. Above the divine king realm is the divine sovereign realm. Becoming the divine sovereign means that one has become a sovereign of the masses within the God realm. One could freely soar the starry skies and look down upon the world. Even within the middle star realms, one could be the king of a realm. Above the divine sovereign realm is the divine master realm. Divine master means a master of the divine way. One would be at the pinnacle of the God realm. In the current primal chaos dimension, it is the highest level, and it is the realm closest to the true God that a human can get to. At the divine master realm, there is nearly nothing impossible to do, and each divine master is an existence that cannot be offended. Looking at the dazed Xianxia, Mu Bingyun said with a complicated expression, "The heaven-slaughter star god that you wish to meet exists in such a superior realm. The 12 star gods of the star god realm are all divine masters. Any one of them is a figure that even the great realm kings of the upper star realms do not dare offend. Putting it this way, do you perhaps understand how difficult a matter it is for you to meet her?" Xianxia closed his eyes and muttered, "Divine origin realm, divine soul realm, divine tribulation realm, divine spirit realm, divine king realm, divine sovereign realm, divine master realm, the 7 divine profound realms. Then above the divine master realm, are there any other realms above that?" Xianxia casually asked. Xianxia had only asked out of curiosity and wasn't actually expecting an answer because Mu Bingyun had already clearly said before that the pinnacle of the divine realm was the divine master realm, and it was the highest that a human could attain. However, Mu Bingyun, who was in front of him, did not immediately shake her head. Instead, she hesitated for some time, stopping twice as she was about to speak before eventually shaking her head. "Even if there was, they are just made-up legends. You do not have to know some needless false words." "Master, can I come in?" Outside the snow-congealing hall, Mu Xiaolan's respectful shout was suddenly heard. Chapter 943, Departing for the God Realm, come in. Mu Bingyun's gaze turned. The hall door was pushed open carefully. Mu Xiaolan was carrying a jade bowl that was releasing some hot steam. She glanced at Xianxia and then completely ignored his existence. Master, this is snow lotus porridge. It's a local specialty. It's very delicious. You've got to give it a try. Mu Bingyun slightly nodded her head. Leave it there for now. Putting down the jade bowl, Mu Xiaolan came to Mu Bingyun's side with quick steps and looked at her with concern. Master, how are you feeling today? You seem to be looking a lot better than yesterday. Mu Bingyun smiled slightly and said, Xiaolan, there happens to be something I need to tell you. I have decided that after taking Xianxia to the Snow Song Realm, I'm letting him join our Divine Ice Phoenix sect. Ah! This news made Mu Xiaolan gasp. She looked at Xianxia with widened eyes and objected by reflex. But he's a bad guy. As soon as she opened her mouth, she instantly realized that her master still needed to rely on him to purify the toxin in her body and immediately changed her tone. I mean, his cultivation level is all right, but in Divine Ice Phoenix sect, even joining Snowfall Palace would be a bit far-fetched. After all, even if someone's at the same cultivation level, there is a large difference between a lower realm and the God realm. His profound strength is at 5th level of the Sovereign Profound Realm, but he probably wouldn't be able to beat one of ours at 3rd level of the Sovereign Profound Realm. He probably wouldn't even make it through the first test. Xianxia doesn't need to go through the test. I will let him enter the Snowfall Palace directly. After a while, I will push for him to enter Freezing Snow Hall. If it wasn't for the controversy that it may cause, unwanted attention it may attract, and trouble it could create for Xianxia, I would like to bring him into our 36th Ice Phoenix Palace. Mu Bingyun's voice was soft and dull, but it made Mu Xiaolan's mouth open wide. He's weak and he's from the lower realm, and Master has already promised to take him to the God realm. This is already a really great repayment. There is absolutely no need for you to do this. Or else, people with ulterior motives might even use this to badmouth behind Master's back. I have my own reasons, said Mu Bingyun. Xianxia's profound strength had not yet stepped into the divine way, and it is a bit far-fetched to even become a half-disciple in Divine Ice Phoenix sect. However, to be recognized by the Sky Poison Pearl as owner, to be able to forcefully cultivate the Ice Phoenix God investiture canon without the Ice Phoenix's blood or anyone's guidance, and to even own the Golden Crow's bloodline on top of that. How could he be an ordinary person? But Mu Bingyun could not explain these reasons to Mu Xiaolan, because the fact that Xianxia owned the Sky Poison Pearl could not be revealed. If he went to the God realm as he was right now, it would just be like another small duckweed in the vast ocean. No one would even bother to give him a second look. But once it was leaked out that he possessed the Sky Poison Pearl, the eyes of the entire God realm would instantly lock dead onto him. Xiaolan, even though Xianxia's character is a bit unbridled, he is not one with evil intentions. His cultivation level is far from close to yours, but that is because of the limitations of this plane. Just based on his natural gifts, if he was born in the Snow Song realm, there probably wouldn't be too much difference between the two of you. From now on in the sect, you must remember his kindness in saving me and give him more care and help. Oh, if Master has already decided, then I of course will listen to Master, Mu Xiaolan responded, but her cheeks were slightly puffed. She was obviously very unconvinced and unwilling. She gave Xianxia a look and said in a domineering tone, Did you hear that? After we return to Snow Song Realm, I will become your senior sister. You need to obey senior sister in the future. If you do something bad and I catch you, even if Master protects you, I will punish you severely. Senior sister? Xianxia swept his eyes from up to down on her unhurriedly. That's insane. You're just a little girl, you want me to call you senior sister. In Divine Ice Phoenix sect, seniority is not based on age but rank. For example, all of the disciples in Snowfall Palace need to address the disciples of Freezing Snow Hall as senior brother or sister. It is the same for Freezing Snow Hall's disciples towards Ice Phoenix Palace's disciples. If it's within the same rank, we will go according to the time one has joined the sect. So whether it's according to the level or the time you entered the sect, after you join our sect, you need to call Xiaolan's senior sister, Mu Bingyun explained. Did you hear that? Mu Xiaolan made a face towards Xianxia with extreme smugness. Oh, all right. Xianxia answered without strength looks like no matter in which plane or world the strong always rule. The law of survival may be even crueler in the God realm. Xiaolan, Remember what I've told you. You mustn't tell anyone that Xianxia cured my poison and has succeeded in cultivating the Ice Phoenix God investiture cannon, not even your family. Mu Bingyun's tone was especially cautious. I know, Master, you've reminded me 800 times already. If someone asks, I'll just say the great realm king found a way to cure you of the poison. Mu Xiaolan nodded a bunch of times in promise. By the way, what level in the divine origin realm is your profound strength at now? Xianxia suddenly asked. HMPH. Right now I am at the 5th level of the divine origin realm, but... Mu Xiaolan's tone immediately became stronger. Even though I am only at the divine origin realm in our divine Ice Phoenix sect, I am a disciple of the Ice Phoenix Palace. Usually one would need to reach at least divine soul realm and would need to pass a test to enter. But a Su, per great genius 16-year-old like me, who had already reached the divine origin realm, didn't need to pass the test, and I directly entered the Ice Phoenix Palace. Even Master said I will be able to enter Ice Phoenix Divine Hall in the future. Maybe I can even be like Senior Brother Hanny and become a candidate to become the Great Realm King's direct disciple. Oh, but I definitely can't win against Senior Brother Hanny. Oh. Xianxia casually responded and mumbled in a low voice. Then you, this super great genius, must be careful. I heard that the more of a genius you are, the more easily you would be struck by lightning. When you reach the divine tribulation realm, careful you don't get struck dead by tribulation lightning. Why you? Mu Xiaolan almost jumped in anger. Master, you look at him. Mu Bingyun smiled and shook her head. She was already used to the duo's constant bickering. Xiaolan is indeed an extraordinary and outstanding disciple in divine Ice Phoenix sect. Many disciples can join the Ice Phoenix Palace each year, but extremely few disciples can enter the Ice Phoenix Palace at only the divine origin realm. On average, only one will appear every few years. The last one was 30 years ago. If there aren't any incidents, in a few dozen years she will qualify to enter Ice Phoenix Divine Hall. Ah, if it wasn't for me burdening her, Xiaolan's cultivation would definitely be even stronger by now. Mu Bingyun sighed softly. Mu Xiaolan started panicking and forcefully shook her head. Master, please don't say something like that. Being able to accompany Master is the greatest fortune of my life. Even if it meant not being able to join Ice Phoenix Divine Hall, I would still be willing to accompany and serve Master. Also, after Master is cured, our 36th Ice Phoenix Palace will definitely rise to prominence right away. When the time comes, who would still dare to underestimate our 36th Palace? Mu Bingyun reached her hand out to touch Mu Xiaolan's face softly with sympathy and affection. Even though she didn't say anything, deep down her ice-cold eyes revealed a sense of gentleness. Looks like there are many stories between this master and disciple, Xianxia thought to himself. By the way, who is this Senior Brother Hanny that you mentioned just now? Xianxia asked in slight disdain as he thought back to Mu Xiaolan's eyes lighting up after she mentioned that name. Senior Brother Hanny is the most talented person in our generation of disciples. Hearing Xianxia suddenly bringing up Senior Brother Hanny, Mu Xiaolan's eyes brightened again. Oh, wrong. I should say, he is the most genius person in the entire Snow Song realm within the last 1,000 years. When he was 20, he was permitted specially to enter Divine Ice Phoenix sect. He's currently around, a bad guy like you's age, but his cultivation is already at the Divine Tribulation realm. Even in the upper star realms, there are very few who can break through to the divine tribulation realm this quickly. That's why he is, without question, the most likely person to become one of the direct disciples of the Great Realm King. You should know that our Great Realm King only takes a direct disciple on the average of once every 1,000 years. To be able to become the Great Realm King's direct disciple is an honor that will last for 10,000 generations in the Snow Song realm. His position in our divine Ice Phoenix sect is almost equal to all the palace masters and elders. His future is unimaginable. Also, even though Senior Brother Hanny is extremely strong, he is not arrogant like the other people in Divine Ice Phoenix sect. On the contrary, he often unselfishly helps and gives guidance to many junior brothers and sisters. He is gentle even to those in Snowfall Palace. Whenever he sees those junior brothers and sisters being bullied for no reason by those despicable senior brothers and sisters, he would always step out and put a stop to it. He even helped me a lot of times. In the entire Divine Ice Phoenix sect, almost everyone likes Senior Brother Hanny. Also, Senior Brother Hanny is so gentle and handsome, and his family background is very good too. He is indeed the most perfect person I've ever met. Speaking of senior brother Hanny, Mu Bingyun couldn't stop talking all of a sudden. Her eyes were filled with admiration, but at the same time she didn't forget to make fun of Xianxia. Unlike some bad guy, it's almost like the difference between a deity and a stinky rock, HMPH. Oh my, I couldn't tell earlier, but this little girl whose body hair hasn't even fully grown yet is already horny. Xianxia beamed as he held his chin with his hand. Whore and why? Mu Bingyun was slightly confused for a while. When she finally realized what the word meant, her tiny face immediately started glowing red out of anger. She hopped up like a cornered rabbit. Why you? Master, look at him, he's bullying me again. A bad guy is a bad guy after all. His nature is like this, but Master still treats him that well. All right. Mu Bingyun shook her head helplessly. Xianxia, thank you for your hard work today. Spend more time with the people around you before you head to the God realm. You should also use this time to think it over seriously. Personally, I really don't recommend you go to the God realm. Amen. Xianxia nodded his head and wordlessly stood up and left. A month of time was very short. During this time, aside from dispelling Mu Bingyun's poison every day at a set time, he completely stopped cultivating and spent every day with his parents, relatives, and beautiful wives. The little demon empress also officially accepted Su Linger's healing method. Kang Yu completely gave up on political affairs and stayed by Xianxia's side every day, and Feng Zuer hadn't returned to Phoenix City at all. Joyous times always seemed shorter, and a month of time quietly slipped away. Following by the full purification of Mu Bingyun's poison, the day of Xianxia's departure to the God realm had finally come. Author's note. The reason why the updates have been slightly slow is not because I've been having less time to type characters lately, but because the setup for the God realm is a bit too big. I need to be careful in writing it. Also, adding to the fact that the disparity between Xianxia and Jasmine is seriously too big. Him reaching that plane in a short amount of time is both unreasonable and will easily become boring. Furthermore, in the God realm plotline, Jasmine is only an opener and there are too many holes up ahead. If I don't pay attention, a bug will easily appear. If a bug were to actually appear, finding a programmer to fix it hurts the wallet, so I have to be very careful. Yes, that's right. It's exactly like that. The transition period between killing Xuanyuan Wenshin and going to the God region is a bit long, longer than I originally anticipated. Don't ask me why, I want to know too. But the Snow Song Realm's plot development will be very fast. Very fast. There's something I have to roast here. Someone claiming Frozen Cloud Asgard is a harem is whatever, but someone actually claimed that the Snow Song Realm is a huge harem. And this isn't just from a few people. Harem your sister. Come, the Snow Song Realm has a population of more than 200 billion. Show me how you make that a harem. Chapter 944, Goodbye, Blue Pole Star, Heads Up. Long chapter. Illusory Demon Realm, Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. After Xianxia and the little demon empress entered Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley, the scene in front of them made them silent for a long time. The flame aura in Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley has been weakening at increasingly faster rate. The little demon empress gazed into the distance. Over half of the once restless volcanoes were now silent. The waves of the sea of flames that once covered the sky now only occasionally surged tongues of flames merely a few meters high. Xianxia knew very clearly that all of this was because of him. When the Golden Crow bestowed him its last origin blood and soul origin, it had already said that it would only be able to exist for another 10 years. Later on, it even forcefully sealed the Devil Origin Orb for him twice in a row, which greatly shrunk its time of existence. Let's go, it said, to bring you to it after you are healed. Speaking of which, this is the first time it has asked to see you. There should be something really important, Xianxia said casually, but he had already made a slight guess in his heart. The two of them arrived at the end of Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. Just as they were about to call out, a pair of golden eyes had already opened up in the skies above. It seems like this noble one woke up just in time. The light from the eyes of the Golden Crow's soul shone down from the sky and landed on the little demon empress. The little demon empress bowed down deeply. Golden Crow, divine god, I have been summoned here by you. What is your command? Compared to a month ago, the little demon empress' profound strength aura had already decreased by a large margin. Her profound energy had weakened from half a step into divine, profound to the 6th level of the sovereign profound realm. However, her life aura was no longer mixed with her profound energy. Instead, it had become independent and stronger. You really broke free from the foretold 3-year death time. After noticing the little demon Empress' current condition, a violent commotion appeared in the Golden Crow soul's eyes alongside an obvious deep shock. According to its knowledge, that was something that shouldn't have happened. Xianxia, how exactly did you cure her? The Golden Crow soul asked in a deep voice, its tone extremely grave. Xianxia thought carefully for a while and responded honestly. My master in the way of medicine from the Azure Cloud continent thought of this method. By slowly dispersing the profound energy that you have bestowed upon her over a month's time, and gradually separating her vital energy and profound energy, her lifeline was given independence once more, and it also stopped her lifespan from being devoured. At first, there was no absolute certainty that it would work, but the result is better than expected. There was no risk or danger throughout the entire process. The medicine master from the Azure Cloud continent, the person named Yungu? The Golden Crow soul had seen Xianxia's memory twice, so it naturally knew of Yungu's existence. Impossible! He was obviously just a mortal. Something like this is impossible to do even for the people of the God realm. Your master in the way of profound should have told you before that she couldn't cure it, right? Xianxia was slightly startled. Jasmine indeed had said that either he needed to find the primordial seal of life and death, or he needed to cultivate the great way of the Buddha to the highest realm. There was no way to save the little demon empress. Using the method Yungu taught Su Linger, combined with her passion, focus, and extreme talent for the medicinal way, she was able to help the little demon empress. It took only a month to save the little demon empress from a death that even Jasmine and the Golden Crow soul couldn't help her escape. But Kei was indeed healed because of the method taught by my master, Yungu. Even though her profound strength had been greatly reduced, aside from some slight damage to her lifespan, she's basically completely healed now, Xianxia said seriously. Speaking of which, at first when Master said he had a way to heal Kei, I was also very shocked. The golden eyes in the sky continuously shook. It was obvious that it still couldn't completely accept this fact. This was because when it let the little demon empress receive an extremely strong power in a short amount of time. It was a life-sacrificing art that belonged on the level of the divine way. Strong power was gained by putting someone in a desperate death situation. Even in the ancient era of gods, it was irreversible. How could this be reversed by the medical skills of a mortal, and it was in such a short amount of time, and healed so thoroughly? Unless, in a long silence, the Golden Crow's soul searched through Xianxia's memories quickly, especially those that was related to Yungu. Soon enough, a name was fixed in its mind. Heavenly Medicine Manual. I see. The Golden Crow soul suddenly started laughing loudly. Its laughter was especially loud, and it was also filled with relief. Xianxia, the medical scripture that Yungu is studying, is called the Heavenly Medicine Manual. Do you know where this medical scripture came from? Xianxia shook his head. Master said he found it somewhere coincidentally, and there was only half of it. Even with only half of it, he spent all of his lifetime but was only able to grasp 30% of it. Could you actually know about this medical scroll? 30%? HMPH, to be able to grasp 30% of it as a mortal, that person called Yungu really has a talent high as the heavens. He is a rare medical genius that only appears once in 10 million years among mortals. This was the first time the Golden Crow soul has complimented another mortal aside from Xianxia, and it even used high as the heavens, and only appears once in 10 million years, as praise. They were extremely high compliments. It is, after all, the place that the last true god fell. There are many good items left behind by the evil god. The sky poison pearl, mirror of samsara, evil god seed. There is also actually this divine scripture here that was originally thought to be lost within the primal chaos. Divine scripture? Xianxia was startled. What the Golden Crow soul had said proved that it actually knew of the Heavenly Medicine Manual, and its background seemed to be unusually large. Heavenly Medicine Manual isn't actually the real name of this divine scripture, but the name that your master Yungu has given it is pretty suitable. You have memorized half of the medical scripture thoroughly in your mind, so from now on, when you're free, you can go through it more. If you can grasp the entire half of this medical scripture, not only could your medical skills become the best in the world, you could even reverse the terminal illnesses in the divine way. This will also be beneficial to your cultivation of the profound way, and it will be a tremendous advantage too. Golden Crow Soul, the Heavenly Medicine Manual, what kind of divine scripture is it exactly? Xianxia asked eagerly. When creation god Xianxia was creating countless lives, at the same time, she also referenced the life inscriptions in the primordial seal of life and death, and used thousands and millions of years to write the miracle of life. Ha! Xianxia's brain was shocked by this news. The medical theories that were recorded in the Heavenly Medicine Manual were extremely deep and mysterious. But there were not any records of such a mysterious medical scripture in the history of the Azure Cloud continent at all. At the same time Yungu was grasping at the Heavenly Medicine Manual, he was also chasing its origin, but he wasn't able to find anything. Xianxia had heard him compliment the extraordinary person who could write such a medical scripture. The Heavenly Medicine Manual, the medical scripture that Xianxia had memorized closely and spent his whole life trying to understand, was actually written by a creation god of the ancient era. It was a true god, and it was a true god of the highest plane that left behind this divine scripture. And this was after all gods had perished. The evil god couldn't bear this world-saving divine scripture to disappear within the primal chaos, so he placed it in the Azure Cloud continent. The sky poison pearl and the mirror of samsara, evil god seed the undead primordial devil sovereign, and the eternal night devil sword, the dark world, and the bizarre girl under cloud's end cliff. Even the Heavenly Medicine Manual was also the fall of the evil god, the fall of the last true god on this planet. Exactly how many secrets were buried here? Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the floor under their feet and the area surrounding them suddenly started shaking violently. The sea of death that was silent before started surging with waves of flames that covered the sky. Xianxia woke up from the shock and exclaimed, "What's happening?" Huanke. The golden light from the sky suddenly became incredibly strong. Lifting his head, he could see that the golden crow's golden eyes had actually turned into two globes of violently burning flames. Even its voice became extremely dignified and loud. "This noble one and your clan have a relationship that has lasted 10 million years. Now that everything in the Illusory Demon Realm is settled, how could you rule for any great period of time as the last empress of your line if you don't possess overwhelming strength when strength equates to power? This noble one does not have much time left. Rather than using the last of my strength to maintain my remaining life in this world, it would be better to fulfill your wish." Boom! Above the blue sky, the two globes of golden flames suddenly burst open. The little demon empress lifted her head abruptly. Even though Xianxia was mentally prepared, his mind was still violently shocked. You are going to? HMPH. When a great calamity was approaching, the phoenix spirit was willing to discard its own divine dignity and bestow its last existence to a mortal. Why can't this noble one do so as well? Even though this noble one's remaining power is almost nothing in the face of any great calamity ahead, the evil god has helped the Golden Crow before. With this slight power, I can at least protect the planet that the evil god was once fond of. These were the last words of the Golden Crow soul. After that, the surrounding area, even the entire Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley, was suddenly lit up with strong golden flames. The entire world turned into a vast, edgeless sea of Golden Crow flames. The sea of flames churned fiercely, and at the command of Golden Crow's soul's power, it wildly surged toward the little demon empress. "Kei, don't think about anything. Focus your mind and open all of your profound entrances," Xianxia said quickly. He looked up to the golden sky and sighed deeply. The first time he saw the Golden Crow soul, its arrogance, tyranny, and unreasonable attitude made him almost feel disgusted. But underneath its fierce character was a proud and great soul. Even though it was only a shard of the Golden Crow's soul, it was a great benefactor in his life, just like Jasmine was. The Golden Crow soul disappeared, and Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley started collapsing in the infinite flames. The last of the divine energy and soul energy the Golden Crow soul used to hold Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley together were all pulled away and surged into the little demon Empress BOOM. Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley finally collapsed completely. The scorching brightness of the flames lit up the sky for 500 kilometers and turned all of Demon Imperial City into a golden city. All the profound practitioners in Demon Imperial City were shocked. All the people from the 12 guardian families and the Duke palaces rushed over, but none of them could get close. In the center of the flames were Xianxia and the little demon empress who were discharged out of Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. He guarded and stuck by the little demon empress' side for a whole 6 hours until the golden flames had finally extinguished. And the little demon empress, who has been silent for 6 hours, finally opened her eyes at this moment. Her eyes that seemed eternally cold actually released a golden light. "Thank you, Golden Crow Divine God," she absent-mindedly said in a low voice, and a tear slowly fell down her face from her golden eyes, leaving a trail of water which reflected a graceful gold on her tender cheeks. "I can finally be at ease and go to the God realm," Xianxia said softly, infinite sadness in his heart. Profound sky continent, snow region of extreme ice. Fluttering snow filled the sky on the day of Xianxia's departure. The frozen cloud celestial soul that was flickering with a mysterious light floated from the back of Xianxia's hand, flew through layers of flying snow towards Murong Qiangsu, and quietly melted into the back of her hand. "Senior Master Murong, from now on, you will have to take care of frozen cloud Asgard," Xianxia said with a smile. "If you ever run into any difficulties, you can use the teleportation formations and go to Demon Imperial City or Zur for help. I believe that it won't be long until frozen cloud Asgard becomes the profound sky continent's new sacred ground." "Asgard Master," Murong Qiangsu lowered her head with her voice trembling a little, "I will definitely not let you down with the frozen cloud Asgard that you've been trying this hard to protect." "Asgard Master." The Feng Hanyu and Feng Hangsu sisters had already both broken into tears. "All right, Asgard Master is only leaving temporarily and will be back in a few short years. You two are after all part of the frozen cloud's 7 fairies. This doesn't look good to the senior ancestor," Chu Yueli comforted in a soft voice. Mu Bingyun watched the transition ceremony in silence. She reached out her snowy hand, and a dark red drop of blood with a light blue ice radiance condensed at her fingertip. Then it suddenly split up into 6 shiny dots and flew toward Murong Qiangsu, Jun Lianqi, Mu Lani, Chu Yueli, Feng Hanyu and Feng Hangsu, and directly burrowed in between their eyebrows. "Ah," Mu Xiaolan gasped in a low voice, but she swallowed the words that were in her throat when she thought about the relationship between Mu Bingyun and frozen cloud Asgard for all these years. "This is a drop of my blood essence. Even though the Ice Phoenix's bloodline within is extremely weak, it should be enough to help you all cultivate the frozen and divine arts." Mu Bingyun pulled back her arms and said gently, "It was almost impossible to mend damage to one's blood essence." Murong Qiangsu and the others were extremely grateful from the bottom of their hearts. They all bowed down. "Thank you, senior ancestor. Xianxia, it's time for us to leave." Mu Bingyun looked at Xianxia. "You still have time to change your mind right now." Xianxia smiled, turned around, looked at those who came to see him off, the most important people in his life. Grandfather, father, mother, Zio Yun, 7th sister, Yuanba, Yuer, Lingxi, Ke, Zur, Linger. "I'm going. Even though my decision this time was very hasty and it could last about 3 to 5 years, I promise that this is the last time I'm being selfish. After I fulfill my wish and return, even if you chase me away, I won't leave again. Chair, you must never do anything dangerous. You must come back safely." Before Mu Yuru finished talking, she had already buried herself in Yun Qinghang's chest and started crying. "Don't worry, when has Chair ever disappointed us? The place he is going is ever broader. We should be happy for him, right?" Yun Qinghang smiled and comforted her. "Husband, you can go with peace in your mind. We will take good care of grandfather, father, and mother. When you come back, everything will only be better than what you expected," Kang Yu said softly. She had a smile on her face, but the edge of her eyes rippled with a hint of tears that she tried really hard to hold in. "Big brother, you must come back safely," Zio Yun said with tears in his eyes. "Don't forget the 3 things that you promised us. You better repeat it in your mind every 2 hours." The little demon empress said in a cold and harsh tone. "Big brother Yun, I will protect everybody. You don't have to worry about anything here. You must come back soon." During these scattered words, Feng Zur shed about 5 or 6 tears. "You all are really something. Big brother Xianxia is only going to see someone in another place, not going somewhere to battle, and he will be back soon. It's not a parting of life and death. It's basically just like when I go out and play for a while, there's nothing to worry about," Su Linger said with a smile. She then rolled her eyes towards Xianxia. "Big brother Xianxia, you are also at fault to make this many people worry for you. If you come back late, none of us will forgive you." All right, I'll promise once again. Whether or not I have achieved my goal, I will definitely be back within 5 years, not 1 day more," Xianxia immediately guaranteed. "I will probably be back in only 2 or 3 years." "Brother-in-law." Zia Yuanba walked forward and said in a riled-up tone, "I want to go with you. Is that really not possible?" Xianxia smiled and shook his head. "Yuanba, you have just become the master of a sacred ground. How can you leave the absolute monarch sanctuary alone? Your sister could also be in that world. After I arrive there, I will also try to look for your sister. A miracle might happen. Xia Yuanba's lips moved, but he finally nodded his head and clenched his fist. Brother-in-law, while you're gone, I will absolutely not let my guard down. I promise by the time you're back, you will definitely be surprised. Amen, I'm looking forward to it. This man, the tyrannical emperor's divine veins. Mu Bingyun looked at Xia Yuanba, her cold eyes flashed with deep astonishment. Master, what did you say just now? Mu Xiaolan moved her face close and asked. Nothing. Mu Bingyun shook her head and said, Open the dimensional formation. Okay. Mu Xiaolan took out the dimensional stone, inserted her profound energy, and an ice-blue profound formation was slowly released. She mumbled softly, bringing a lowly bad guy back with us. I don't feel all too willing. He saved Master's life. I should be grateful to him. But why is he so annoying? When the dimensional teleportation formation opened, Xianxia waved. I'm going. I will be back soon. After saying those final 7 words, Xianxia turned around and walked directly into the dimensional profound teleportation formation. He had his back turned toward them and stopped looking back. He didn't know what he would encounter this time, heading to the God realm. He was afraid that if he faced those deeply concerned, worried, unwilling, and tearful eyes again, he really wouldn't be able to leave anymore. Asgard Master, we will keep on waiting for your return, Feng Hengsu yelled loudly. The blue light flashed as the dimensional profound formation started to spin slowly. Mu Bingyun, Mu Xiaolan, and Xianxia started floating in a swirl up into the sky. It became more and more rapid, and soon it was already close to the edge of the clouds. Xiaolinxi's eyes kept on following Xianxia's silhouette and never left for even an instant. Watching Xianxia, who was slowly getting further from her sight, she suddenly felt dizzy. She saw a ball of flames. Xianxia's silhouette was covered entirely by the flames, and it suddenly shattered and became scattered ashes in the air. SSS. A soft dimensional hiss came from above the air, and the dimensional profound formation had already completely disappeared with the trio. Little Qi, an indescribable suffering and pain was shaking deep in Xiaolinxi's soul. She lifted her arm to try to reach towards the direction where Xianxia was, but just as she lifted it halfway, her eyes went dark and fell back directly. Ah, little ant! Number 7 under heaven, who was standing right behind Xiaolinxi, immediately reached out and held on to her. What's the matter? The little demon empress turned around instantly, and her eyebrows knitted abruptly. Xiaolinxi's face was unusually pale, and she was obviously suffering, as if she was enduring some kind of cruel torture. Sister Linger, come quick! Feng Zuer yelled in panic. Su Linger hurried towards Xiaolinxi's side and grabbed her wrist, but she let go of it immediately as if she was shocked by electricity. She said in shock, what kind of pulse is this? What's wrong with her pulse? What exactly is the matter? Could it be some kind of serious illness? The little demon empress said in a deep voice. Her pulse is so fast. There was shock on Su Linger's face. It is so fast that it's... At this moment, Xiaolinxi suddenly moaned softly and then slowly opened her eyes. Linxi, how are you? Were you feeling sick? Mu Yuru asked in concern. Xiaolinxi held onto number 7 under heaven's arm, stood up without any difficulty, shook her head and forced a smile. I'm all right. It's probably because I miss little Qi too much. I'm a bit sad to see him leave. Su Linger tried Xiaolinxi's pulse again, and it was a lot more steady. This made her pink lips open slightly, and she started to doubt whether that was an illusion just now. Her pulse was so fast just now. It was at least a few dozen times faster than a normal person. That kind of pulse should not have appeared on a living person. It should be an illusion from her own panic, Su Linger told herself. That's good. Even though her face was still a bit pale, there didn't seem to be anything unusual about her, so Mu Yuru was slightly relieved and comforted. With you all this concerned about him, he will definitely be back soon. Amen. Xiaolinxi smiled and nodded her head, but her mind was paused on the scene when Xianxia turned into ashes in the flames. Little Qi and Xianxia at this moment was already in the spatial tunnel heading towards Snow Song Realm. The reason he headed towards the realm of the gods was only for Jasmine. He also kept the little demon empress advice carefully in his mind. He had a restless personality, but for his parents and those who missed him, he had made the decision that he would only work hard to find Jasmine in the god realm. He would absolutely not do anything dangerous for anything, even if it meant he'd have to give in to something. With his strength now, he couldn't even make a tiny ripple in the huge god realm. The reason Mu Bingyun took him to the Snow Song realm was only to thank him for saving her life. As for him wanting to meet the Heaven Slaughter Star God, even though she would do everything she could to help, she did not believe that there was any possibility of it succeeding at all deep down in her heart. She never would have thought that this decision of hers would actually completely change the situation in the entire God realm. And she never would have thought that this person she brought back from a lower realm would turn the entire God realm upside down in the near future. The wheel of destiny for Realm of the Gods started turning once more at this very moment. Author's note: Senior Brother Hanny has appeared before in chapter 667, No One Remembers at All. 7 Divine Profound Realms. Divine Origin Realm. Vital energy becomes divine. Right arrow Divine Soul Realm. Soul becomes divine. Right arrow Divine Tribulation Realm. Getting struck by lightning. Right arrow Divine Spirit Realm. Spiritual perception becomes divine. Right arrow Divine King Realm. Lower Realm King. Right arrow Divine Sovereign Realm. Middle Realm King. Right arrow Divine Master Realm. Higher Realm King. Right arrow Divine Extinction Realm. Half step into True God. Eastern Divine Region's 4 Great King Realms. Brahma Monarch Realm, Eternal Sky Realm, Moon God Realm, Star God Realm. Brahma Monarch is the strongest, Eternal Sky is next. Moon God Realm and Star God Realm are similar in strength. The ranking of the 4 Divine Regions. Western Divine Region, Southern Divine Region, approximately Eastern Divine Region, Northern Divine Region. Ranking of the Snow Song Realm's disciple. From lowest to highest. Snowfall Palace, half disciples, half part-time worker, Right Arrow Freezing Snow Hall, 1008 halls, Right Arrow Ice Phoenix Palace, 36 palaces, Right Arrow Divine Ice Phoenix Hall, core disciples, Right Arrow Direct Disciple of the Realm King. Chapter 945, Snow Song Realm. The air was completely drained. The surroundings seemed to have disappeared into nothing. A sudden flow of light made Xianxia close his eyes. When he slowly opened his eyes, a world that he couldn't understand was before his eyes, sometimes dark and sometimes colorful. His own body was traveling through this world at an extremely fast speed. This is a crack in the dimension. You could understand it as the dimensional tunnel. He heard Mu Bingyun's voice near his ears. The 3 of them stood together. Surrounding them was an ice-blue barrier in the shape of a ball, and the pattern of the profound formation was flashing brightly on the outside of the barrier. We are now traveling through space. This must be your first time. There are a lot more things in the future that will surprise you, HMPH, Mu Bingyun said rather proudly. Dimensional travel, dimensional tunnel, dimensional crack. Xianxia looked at the world around him. A few breaths later, his eyes were blinded by the white flowing light. He quickly shut his eyes and couldn't reopen them until a while later. He asked confusedly, "We are traveling through dimensions, but how is it that we can still hear sound? Also, I don't seem to feel anything too different." "Because there is an isolation barrier," Mu Bingyun explained. "There is no danger in traveling through dimensions for a short amount of time. But traveling through a long distance for a long time could very likely form a dangerous dimensional storm. Even though the dimensional stone we are using is classified as an extremely rare dimensional profound stone, its powers are still limited and cannot be compared with those dimensional profound formations that are powered by a large amount of energy. Because of this, even though it can be carried around, it travels slower and is easier to be tracked. To travel a distance between the profound sky continent and the Snow Song realm, we must use this barrier that can isolate the dimensional storm. However, upon reaching the Divine Sovereign realm, one does not need to rely on any outside source to move within the dimension crack. We can live within it for a long time, and we will not need to fear a dimensional storm at all. Divine Sovereign Realm, Xianxia exclaimed in his heart. He knew about the existence of the 7 divine profound realms from Mu Bingyun and was well aware of how strong the Divine Sovereign Realm was. But this was too distant and ethereal to him. This realm of the divine way was an extravagant hope that he couldn't begin to wish for. "Fairy Mu, if I want to return to the profound sky continent someday, could I also use the help of this kind of dimensional stone?" Xianxia asked. "HMPH, don't even think about it." Before Mu Bingyun could respond, Mu Bingyun had already rolled her eyes at him. "This is a dimensional stone you're talking about. Anything that has to do with the dimension, even in the God realm, are all super precious. Even someone as noble as Master could only get one piece of dimensional stone once every 100 years. After she finished speaking, she muttered carefully, The dimensional stones that Master has saved during her life were almost all used to travel back and forth from the profound sky continent. Xianxia, you don't have to worry, Mu Bingyun said gently. After you have fulfilled your wish or whenever you want to return, I will have a way to let you return to the profound sky continent. However, I am probably not going to the blue pole star again in my lifetime, so it will be impossible for me to bring you to the God realm a second time. You must think carefully about when you're going to return. Amen, Xianxia nodded. Thank you, Fairy Mu. Mu Xiaolan curled her lips slightly and muttered to herself. Master is way too gentle. She is even this nice to this big bad guy. After about 15 minutes, Mu Bingyun said in a calm voice, "We're here." As soon as Mu Bingyun finished speaking, the world before Xianxia's eyes instantly changed. It became an endless whiteness with bone-chilling wind blowing in his face. At this moment, they were millions of miles high up in the sky. Looking downwards, an enormous snowy world was below them. Icy mist filled the air and glaciers covered the ground. Every corner of this world seemed to be covered with a thick layer of ice or snow. The Snow Song Realm, a star realm that had been covered by ice and snow since ancient times. The first breath that Xianxia took in this world stunned him. The air here was icy cold, but it was so unbelievably pure. The breaths that he took actually made his 5 senses feel clearer. Even though he was already mentally prepared, the elemental aura in the air and in the entire dimension was still so strong that it shocked him. This was not simply just a few times stronger than the blue pole star, it was at least a few dozen stronger, or even more. In this world, the power of the rage god in his body circulated at an increasing speed. The speed in which the energy of heaven and earth flowed into his body was also multiplied by several times. In this kind of environment, there was no question that Xianxia's profound strength and the speed of his recovery would all increase greatly. "This is the God realm?" Xianxia couldn't help but mumble softly. The creatures here were actually all surviving and cultivating in this kind of environment. Compared to the thickness and purity of the aura here, the aura in Blue Pole Star was almost as turbid and dirty as swamp mud. Mu Bingyun wasn't surprised at all by Xianxia's shock. She spoke calmly. "The level of aura and law in the God realm cannot be compared with the Blue Pole Star that you lived in. This is the first time you have been here. You will be uncomfortable for a very long time because of the aura here. Dizziness, weakness, and difficulty breathing will be pretty common. You will be able to get completely used to it in about a month. After that, you will discover that the cultivation speed in this world is far superior than the world that you were at." "Uncomfortable?" Xianxia stared blankly. "Not at all. I actually feel incredibly comfortable." "Oh." Mu Bingyun looked at Xianxia and noticed that the color of his face was normal. Not only were his eyes not cloudy, they were very clear and the rate of his breathing was very stable. She was a little surprised, but she did not take it to heart. She nodded and said, "Maybe it's because we just arrived. There hasn't been time for you to develop discomfort. If you feel something unusual later on, there's no need to be concerned. I will take you back to the Ice Phoenix Realm now." Ice Phoenix Realm? Mu Bingyun reached out and pointed with her hand lightly. A light flashed by and a very thin ice crystal in a standard diamond square shape about 7 meters long appeared ahead of them. As soon as it appeared, it instantly derived a few dozen glittering ice spirits in flowing lights, flickering and dancing while surrounding the ice crystal. "What's this?" Xianxia asked in surprise. "Country bumpkin, just follow us. Stop asking here and there, so annoying." Mu Xiaolan pushed Xianxia right onto the icicle impatiently with her palms, then she twisted her slim waist and landed on its surface herself as well before turning her back to him. Xianxia gritted his teeth, watching the petite view of her back. "This little girl, a perfect man like myself, she actually can't stand a single thing I do. Could she be a lesbian? Forget it, you can stay proud for now. When I know my way around here, I must touch your butt 3 times a day. Let's go." Mu Bingyun said something softly. At that instant, the icicle ripped open space and took the 3 of them flying toward the white, endless world. Snow mountains, ice rivers, glaciers. This was totally a world of snow, and the ice element was also the dominant force in this world. The plane here was extremely high, and the incredibly thick aura had not yet caused Xianxia the discomfort that Mu Bingyun had mentioned. Instead, he felt more and more comfortable, as if he was in a dreamy fairytale land. As he bathed in the aura of the God realm, his eyes looked down at the divine region beneath him as his heart surged in billows. "I am finally in this world from the legends. I was already unparalleled in the Blue Pole Star, but in this world I should only be a rather tiny existence. What's waiting in front of me? Could I really see Jasmine again? The Golden Crow soul said if I don't see her within 5 years, I will never be able to see her again in my life. Why is that? Xianxia's hands slowly clenched into fists. Even though the reason he came to the God realm was absolutely not to chase after power from a higher plane. He was well aware that no matter what plane it was in, the most important thing to have in order to achieve one's goal more easily was eternally sufficient strength. In the God realm, the lifespans of those top strong practitioners were all incredibly long. Their extreme strength was very often accompanied by tens of thousands of years or even 1,000,000 years of cultivation. 5 years, it was truly far too short a time in this world. To those strong practitioners, it was merely an instance of a finger snap. But he only had such a short amount of time. Even so, before the profound God convention that Mu Bingyun had mentioned before, the main mission for him in the Snow Song realm was to do his best to increase his own strength. Because the more power he had, the more hope he would have to see Jasmine. He also had to keep the 3 promises he made to the little demon empress while trying to raise his powers at the same time. Don't seek trouble, don't get into trouble, don't cause trouble. In short, the only thing he needed to do in the Snow Song realm was to devote himself to cultivation. Xianxia decided like this. Fairy Mu, I have a question that I want to ask you, Xianxia said. You mentioned before, in order to cultivate the Ice Phoenix God Investiture Cannon, you need the blood or soul of the Ice Phoenix. Then, does that mean once someone become a disciple of the Divine Ice Phoenix sect, they will be able to receive the blood or soul of the Ice Phoenix? Wouldn't there be a risk of the bloodline or arts being leaked? The Divine Phoenix sect that inherited the Phoenix bloodline was a sect purely within its family, and they were extremely harsh on controlling its bloodline. It was also this reason that contributed to several grudges between him and Divine Phoenix sect. Even though they existed in different planes, their natures should be similar. But hearing Mu Bingyun's description earlier, the Divine Ice Phoenix sect in the Snow Song realm didn't seem to be like that. This is not something that can be described in merely a sentence or two. Mu Bingyun gave Xianxia an answer that slightly surprised him. Mu Bingyun hesitated a little bit and still decided to explain it to him. A long time ago, the Divine Ice Phoenix sect was a force where half of it was family. Even though they also took disciples from the outside, there were very few of them. It was controlled very harshly, and they basically only took in female disciples. But because the Ice Phoenix God Investiture Cannon was a divine art of the ice element, on top of the environment of the Snow Song realm, it was extremely difficult for males who cultivate the Ice Phoenix God Investiture Cannon to conceive and females to become pregnant. Xianxia. Reproduction was always the weakest spot of the Snow Song realm. It is even more so in Divine Ice Phoenix sect. The most direct consequence is the rapid decrease every generation in the numbers of Divine Ice Phoenix sect's disciples. The Divine Ice Phoenix sect holds a very high position in the Snow Song realm, so high that it is indispensable. In other star realms, great forces usually stand in great numbers. Several or even sometimes dozens of sects would rule and lead a star realm altogether. But the Snow Song realm is ruled by only our Divine Ice Phoenix sect, and there is no one who can match us. If Divine Ice Phoenix sect decays just like this, then the position of the Snow Song realm in the God realm will also decrease rapidly. Perhaps one day, it would become a lower star realm. Because of this, Divine Ice Phoenix sect was forced to loosen their sect rules and absorb a large number of gifted disciples. Later on, even those from the lower realms, if they are qualified and pass the examinations, can also join the sect. Then, what about bloodline? Xianxia asked in curiosity. Not everyone who enters the sect can receive the Ice Phoenix bloodline, Mu Bingyun said. Such as the disciples of Snowfall Palace. They can only cultivate the other ice element profound arts of Divine Ice Phoenix sect. They are not qualified to touch the Ice Phoenix God Investiture Cannon. It is the same even if you enter Freezing Snow Hall. It's just that the ice profound arts they can choose are higher in level. And if one can enter Ice Phoenix Palace, they can receive a drop of Ice Phoenix's blood that is diluted 10,000 times, allowing them to officially cultivate the Ice Phoenix God Investiture Cannon. However, with such a thin Ice Phoenix bloodline, it is bound to not be able to pass on to the next generation, so there is no need to worry about the divine blood leaking to outsiders. Diluted 10,000 times, the corner of Xianxia's mouth was twitching like crazy. This was too stingy, and this was the treatment for high-level disciples. If one can enter Divine Ice Phoenix Hall, they can then receive a drop of the Ice Phoenix's blood that is diluted 1,000 times. If they can receive the appreciation of an elder, they might even be bestowed with blood essence that can thicken their divine blood even more. Mu Bingyun closed her eyes and said, "What I have bestowed on the 6 people from Frozen Cloud, Asgard, was a drop of my blood essence. Not only can it help them cultivate the Ice Phoenix God investiture canon, it is enough for them to pass it down 5 or so generations." Yun Qi's lips opened a little. Mu Bingyun indeed had an unusual relationship with Frozen Cloud Asgard. Perhaps the great gift she had given was related to her regaining her life because of Frozen Cloud Asgard. And if one could become the direct disciple of the Realm King, then they could receive a whole drop of the Ice Phoenix's origin blood. This is probably the thing that all profound practitioners in the Snow Song realm desperately desire, Mu Bingyun said softly. Yun Qi's eyes stared straight ahead and he couldn't say anything for a long time. "Ah," Mu Bingyun sighed softly. "The divine blood of the Ice Phoenix is extremely precious and it cannot regenerate. Using a drop means one less drop of blood, so most of the bloodline given to the disciples of Ice Phoenix Palace are not origin blood. Instead, they choose the blood essence from a direct inheritor and dilute it. Unless there is someone extremely gifted and talented, then they will be given a whole drop of origin blood and be taught directly by the Realm King. This was also the most helpless thing of my divine Ice Phoenix sect. The divine power of divine bloodline of the other forces can be inherited by generations through reproduction and expand their forces. Even if they don't accept disciples from the outside, they would still be stronger generation after generation. As for our Ice Phoenix clan, the higher we cultivate the Ice Phoenix God investiture canon, the harder it is for us to reproduce. If we only relied on passing down our bloodline, the sect would only be weaker generation after generation. Because of this, we need to rely on accepting a large number of disciples from other clans to continue our prosperity. However, the amount of Ice Phoenix blood is already extremely scarce. There will come a time when it finally runs out. The future of Divine Ice Phoenix sect is indeed very worrying. After speaking, Mu Bingyun sighed once again. The reason she explained was because she thought Yun Qi was surprised by the strange system of Divine Ice Phoenix sect, but she completely misunderstood. The reason Yun Qi was shocked was that Divine Ice Phoenix sect was the #1 most stingy sect of this Snow Song realm. High-ranking disciples could only receive 1/10,000th of a drop of Ice Phoenix blood, and it could very possibly just be the diluted blood essence of some inheritor. Core disciples only had 1/1000th of a drop of Ice Phoenix blood. Even though there was an average of only 1 direct disciple for the Realm King once every 1,000 years, they were still only given a drop of Ice Phoenix origin blood. Within his body was a total of 3 drops of the Phoenix blood, 6 drops of the Dragon God blood, 9 drops of the Golden Crow blood, and they were all origin blood. He also possessed the Dragon God marrow and could endlessly produce more of his own Dragon God blood. He would probably be surprised by the degree of thickness his own Dragon God bloodline was right now. This was the Snow Song realm, a plane that was a lot higher than the world that he had previously been in. It was actually this miserable here. After that, he thought about it harder and then started to understand. The inheritance of the gods in the profound sky continent and the Illusory Demon Realm was discovered not that long ago, and very few could receive the bestowment, especially the inheritance of the Dragon God. He was the only one who had passed the trial, so he was naturally able to directly receive the origin blood. The only exception was Divine Phoenix sect. With only 5,000 years of history, there was no more origin blood within the Divine Phoenix sect, because the last few dozen drops of Phoenix blood were all given to Feng Zuer. And in the God realm, with 1,000,000 years of history, it was already rare that they could still have some origin blood left. But speaking of which, if it wasn't for the reproduction limitation the Ice Phoenix clan possessed, they wouldn't need to forcefully save up some of their origin blood. Chapter 946, Freezing Snow City. The trio had unwittingly flown through a few thousand kilometers of the snow region. Snow Song Realm did not have an ocean of water, only a boundless ocean of ice. During the few thousand-kilometer journey, the Snow Song Realm touched Yun Qi greatly. Aside from the God Realm aura that was completely different than that of the Blue Pole Star, there was a stifling, empty silence. The Snow Song region was much more vast than the Blue Pole Star, but whether it be the amount of people or profound beasts, those were incomparably sparse here. "We've arrived," Mu Bingyun stated as she opened her eyes that had been resting the entire time. The direction of the flight suddenly shifted downward. The sea of clouds scattered, and an enormous world shrouded in illusory icy mist instantly appeared before Xianxia. The temperature had suddenly dropped, and the originally extremely dense energy of heaven and earth quickly became even richer. Even though they were high up in the skies, the enormous world didn't seem to have a limit. Within the icy mist, glaciers, cities of ice and ice origins were scattered across the area. They were covered with a layer of might so sharp that its ice-cold suppression caused Xianxia to involuntarily hold his breath. Scree, a long cry pierced through the high skies. A huge bird that was at least a few kilometers wide in body length alone flew over from the icy mist. Its approach brought along an oppressive feeling that caused Xianxia's entire body to stiffen for him. It was a tremendous, totally incomprehensible suppression. He had no doubt that this huge bird only needed an instant to erase him from this world. However, the huge bird held not the slightest bit of hostility in its aura. In fact, it shifted the trajectory of its flight and actively made way for them. It seemed as though that long cry was its greeting call. In the next instant, Xianxia was stunned to see countless shadows within the icy mist that filled the air. There were huge blue birds, white single-horned beasts, and all kinds of oddly shaped ice beasts. There were even several kilometer-long ice dragons. The profound beasts which flew through the skies of this world were all, without exception, ice attribute profound beasts, and any one of them, even the weakest, left Xianxia trembling in fear. This is the Ice Phoenix Realm, where Divine Ice Phoenix Sect is located, Mu Bingyun narrated with a soft voice. Our Divine Ice Phoenix Sect should not be the same as the sects you know of. Ice Phoenix Realm is around the same size as the profound Sky Continent, but there are not more than 200 million people here. 200 million? Xianxia was shocked. These 200 million people all belong to Divine Ice Phoenix Sect. No, Mu Bingyun shook her head. From the lowest Snowfall Palace disciple to the highest main sect master, Divine Ice Phoenix Sect only has a total of 10 million members. As for the others, the majority are the Snow Song Realm's profound practitioners, with the minority being lower realm ascenders. In order to enter Divine Ice Phoenix Sect, they would reside within the Ice Phoenix Realm year-round to cultivate, settling down in the Ice Phoenix Realm, and even go as far as to establish some forces of various sizes here. You can perhaps view the Ice Phoenix Realm as a special country with Divine Ice Phoenix Sect as its core. The places between Divine Ice Phoenix Sect and the borders of the Ice Phoenix Realm are all generations of profound practitioners who work hard in hopes of joining Divine Ice Phoenix Sect. Mu Bingyun's gaze slightly shifted as she mumbled softly, "Elder sister." The icy mist grew more and more faint as Xianxia was gradually able to see what was below them. A blue, indistinct silhouette appeared. Xianxia was able to recognize the tail of a phoenix at first glance. However, completely different from the fire phoenix, this phoenix tail was a flowing, cold, icy blue color. There was either a city or a huge palace on top of each phoenix feather. The shape of the Divine Ice Phoenix Sect was precisely a reclining ice phoenix more than 50,000 kilometers long from north to south. With Xianxia's eyesight, even at such a high altitude, he was only barely able to see the silhouette of a phoenix tail. Could it be that the ice phoenix really is an ice-type phoenix? The icicle beneath their feet suddenly accelerated at this time, fast enough to make Xianxia subconsciously close his eyes. When he opened them, the speed of the icicle suddenly slowed before completely grinding to a halt. Ding! Amidst a light sound, the icicle disappeared, and Xianxia's feet landed on the incomparably hard ice crystal floor. Before him were numerous unusually tall structures, palaces, and buildings. The tall ones were at most 3 kilometers tall, and the shortest were close to 300 meters. They were all built with ice crystals and reflected ice-gold light. In this area, the element of ice was so rich and active that it had reached its pinnacle. If he looked into the distance, he would see fast-moving white or blue-robed silhouettes, and the silhouettes of kinds of ice, profound beasts, and profound arcs from time to time. At the extreme limits of his line of sight was a 3-kilometer-tall palace bigger than the entire Blue Wind Imperial City. Beside the palace was an ice crystal phoenix with its wings spread, as though it was in flight. The might it released was so thick that it nearly enveloped the entire world. Everything seemed as though he had arrived in a wonderland of ice and snow. The snow region of extreme ice could be said to be the profound Sky Continent's coldest, purest region, where the ice element was the most concentrated and active. However, if it were to be compared to this place, it would be as insignificant as dust. Phew! We're finally back. This is the first time I've left for this long after entering Divine Phoenix sect. Mu Bingyun closed her eyes and took a deep breath of the pure cold air in this place. Even though she had only stayed for a month, the profound sky continent's aura was still turbid to the point where she couldn't endure it. This is the Ice Phoenix realm. Mu Bingyun looked at Xianxia and said, "Up ahead is Freezing Snow City, the place where Freezing Snow Hall is located. Unofficial disciples are not allowed to enter and exit at will. If they encounter a disciple of the sect, they would be sure to be interrogated. However, since you were brought here by me, you do not have to worry. Elder sister already knows that I've returned. I must see to her immediately lest she get too worried. I will also tell her of your situation in passing," Mu Bingyun stated. "Ah!" Mu Bingyun softly gasped. Then she hung her head and muttered in a small voice. "It's even hard for someone like Senior Brother Hanyi to see the Great Realm King. How could the Great Realm King even bother with a small lower realm bad guy like him?" Mu Bingyun slightly shook her head. "Xiaolan, elder sister, definitely won't treat him unfairly just based on the fact that Xianxia saved my life. So, Xianxia, you do not need to be too nervous here and just treat this place as an ordinary cultivation ground." "All right," Xianxia nodded. "I'll be troubling you then." Profound practitioners, even those from the Snow Song realm that had come to the Divine Ice Phoenix sect for the first time, would all tremble in fear. Those ascenders from lower realms would be even more nervous, such that they would shrink to their smallest. However, what Mu Bingyun saw from Xianxia's face was actually deep curiosity and even faint excitement. Unexpectedly, not a hint of nervousness was found there. "Xiaolan, go bring Xianxia to the Freezing Snow Main Hall. Use my name to directly take an Ice Phoenix engraved jade for Xianxia so he could become a disciple of Freezing Snow Hall. As for which hall he'll be placed in, let fate decide that. Afterwards, go take him on a stroll in Freezing Snow City." "Yes, master." Mu Bingyun complied with unwillingness written all over her face. "In addition, let me say this again. You mustn't tell anyone that Xianxia cured my poison and learned the Ice Phoenix God investiture canon." "Don't worry, master. I definitely won't let out a single word." Mu Bingyun slightly nodded. She quickly rose, turned into a streak of blue, and completely disappeared from their line of sight. Seriously, why does she treat him so well? It was not known how many times Mu Bingyun mumbled those words, but she did it yet again with a tone that contained a distinct tone of jealousy. "Cough, little sister Xiaolan." Once Xianxia said those words, Mu Bingyun turned around lightning quick and answered aggressively. "What little sister Xiaolan? Call me senior sister, senior sister. Also, before I bring you to Freezing Snow City, you better remember this well. You can't secretly run around wherever you like, can't say random things, and your eyes can't randomly roam around. Especially since our Divine Ice Phoenix sect has more female disciples. Why you definitely can't do things you shouldn't do. Otherwise, don't blame me for not warning you." "Things I shouldn't do. What things I shouldn't do?" Xianxia asked with a face full of innocence. "In short, just do whatever I tell you to. Otherwise, you better behave and stand there doing nothing," Mu Bingyun said in a really loud voice. "Understood." Xianxia gave a rather helpless reply. "HMPH, now that's obedient." Mu Bingyun nodded in satisfaction after seeing this lowly bad person behaved quite well under her admonishment. Then she flew up, "Follow me." Under Mu Bingyun's guidance, Xianxia entered the Freezing Snow City. Freezing Snow Hall was located in and directly headed for the Freezing Snow Main Hall. The 3-kilometer-tall palace hall Xianxia first saw upon his arrival was precisely the Freezing Snow Main Hall. North of the Freezing Snow Main Hall were also exactly 108 Freezing Snow Halls, and they were all around the size of a city in the lower realms. After entering Freezing Snow City, the surrounding aura changed once more. An extremely dense ice aura assaulted his face as human figures also increased within his line of sight. It was at this time that Xianxia suddenly thought about a phrase Jasmine had once said. He conjured some energy, and his right hand suddenly grabbed forward as his profound strength surged. Bang! With Xianxia's strength, whether it be the profound sky continent or the illusory demon realm, this attack was enough to cave space at a large scale. At this moment, Xianxia's profound energy did create the ear-splitting sound of an energy explosion, but space. Forget about caving space. Not even a minute distortion or ripple had been created. Xianxia, at that time, Jasmine had said that the God realm's spatial laws far exceeded that of the profound sky continent. With his power, even if he used all his strength, he should forget about causing the slightest amount of damage to the God Realm's space. At that time, he somewhat doubted her words, but it was now that he completely understood that Jasmine had not exaggerated the least bit back then. The God Realm and the lower realms truly were two different planes of existence. "What are you doing?" The sound behind him caused Mu Bingyun to be on guard as she turned around. "Oh, I was just wondering what the Ice Phoenix engraved jade fairy Mu was talking about earlier was," Xianxia stated. "It is basically the nameplate that says that you are a disciple of Divine Ice Phoenix sect." Mu Bingyun kept her temper as she explained. "Different ranked disciples of Divine Ice Phoenix sect will also have different Ice Phoenix engraved jades. Snowfall Palace is light blue, Freezing Snow Hall is ice blue, and our Ice Phoenix Palace is sky blue." Then she pointed at the sparking stone around her left collarbone, which was releasing an illusory blue light. "Look, it's this. The deeper the color, the higher your rank. It is your proof of identity, and it can also be used to store items, transmit sound, or even absorb cold energy to assist you in your cultivation. The teleportation formations of various sizes within the sect also require the Ice Phoenix engraved jade to activate. Different engraved jades also activate different teleportation formations. For example, once you obtain the Freezing Snow Hall's engraved jade, you are only able to activate the teleportation formations of Freezing Snow Hall and Snowfall Palace. If you want to go to Ice Phoenix Palace's regions, HMPH, fat chance unless master or I bring you along." "Oh," said Xianxia. At this moment, two especially pretty white-robed Freezing Snow Hall disciples came over. When they saw Mu Bingyun, they hurriedly stepped forward and bowed, "Senior Sister Bingyun." "Strange, why are there so few people here today? Did something happen today?" Mu Bingyun asked. The girl on the right side answered, "In reply to Senior Sister, today's the final day of this year's new disciple examination for Freezing Snow Hall. The main hall master has ordered all disciples without an assignment to stay in their respective halls. If they don't have any special matters, no one is allowed to casually walk around." "Oh, right." Mu Bingyun came to a realization. "It really is around these days. I actually forgot about it." "Senior Sister Bingyun, this is." The girl on the right looked at Xianxia. His profound strength aura was only at the sovereign profound realm, and he didn't have an Ice Phoenix engraved jade. So he was a dubious individual who shouldn't appear in this area. "He's someone my master brought here from a lower realm. From now on, he'll be your junior brother," Mu Bingyun casually explained, then gestured at Xianxia. "All right, let's go already. I forgot that these days are Freezing Snow Hall's new disciple examination days. We should hurry up and go get an Ice Phoenix engraved jade. We can't disturb the busy hall masters." Astonishment flashed past the two Freezing Snow Hall's females as they watched them leave. Mu Bingyun's master, who was also a Grand Ice Phoenix Palace Master, brought back someone who was only at the 5th level of the Sovereign Profound Realm from the lower realms. This, Mu Bingyun, was an Ice Phoenix Palace disciple, in this freezing snow city that was one rank lower than her. She could walk against the law, and any Freezing Snow Hall disciples had to immediately greet her upon encountering her. The most basic requirement to join Freezing Snow Hall was stepping into the divine way. Getting into the divine origin realm was also merely obtaining the qualification to participate in Freezing Snow Hall's examinations. Every year, countless people who had reached the divine origin realm still did not qualify to enter Freezing Snow Hall, and could only continue on as a member of Snowfall Palace. As such, any person one would encounter in Freezing Snow City would release the aura of the divine way. We're in the formidable divine origin realm, and were all well-known people of excellence. If anyone among them were to go to the blue pole star, they would definitely be absolute existences without parallel. This was the terror of the God realm. Chapter 947, making things difficult with her status as an Ice Phoenix Palace disciple. In addition to Palace Master Bingyun's name, Mu Bingyun brought Xianxia to the Freezing Snow Main Hall unhindered. Even though it was a great hall, it was a completely different concept than the great halls Xianxia recognized. Once he came in, it was as though he had stepped into a vast, different world. The hall was 3 kilometers tall, and its boundary couldn't be seen with a mere glance. Different from the silent, freezing snow city, this place was brimming with innumerable strong auras. At a glance, neatly arranged waves of people were everywhere within the great hall, spreading all the way until the end of one's line of sight. The auras of each and every person here were incomparably strong, definitely auras that surpassed the sovereign profound realm without a single exception. Though there were so many people here, the Great Hall was still particularly quiet and solemn. Those lower realm powerhouses who could cover their worlds with one hand all wore nervous and serious expressions. They were arranged in teams, every one of their expressions and movements extremely cautious. They didn't even dare to whisper to one another. Each team had around 10,000 members, and it was impossible for Xianxia to see how many teams were present. So many, Xianxia was amazed. These few days just happened to be freezing Snow Hall's new disciple recruitment examination days. Mu Bingyun pursed her lips and explained, "This kind of assessment happens once every year and it lasts for around 7 days. Today should be the last day." Yes, look, they split everyone in groups of 10,000 and they go through 108 groups every day, which perfectly fits Freezing Snow Hall's 108 halls. Each group would be evaluated by a Freezing Snow Hall's Vice Hall Master or disciple, and sometimes the Hall Master might even personally come to participate. Aside from successors of the Ice Phoenix bloodline, disciples that come from the outside, especially those from the lower realm, have to be evaluated before they are allowed to join Freezing Snow Hall. The base requirement for being able to participate in the exam is to have reached the Divine Origin realm. If they fail the examination, they have to wait 5 more years to take part in it again. As for you, Mu Bingyun rolled her eyes. You are someone Master has brought over, so you do not need to go through all this. However, since you're so weak, if you're bullied once you enter Freezing Snow Hall, I'm not running after you. Oh, Xianxia shrugged. In all honesty, getting and using the back door was something he felt disinclined doing. A team of 10,000 people, 108 teams, with the Divine Origin realm being merely the threshold. In other words, these people who were carefully participating in the examination might not even pass. There were over 1 million people here, and they were all at the Divine Origin realm. And this was only one of the many examination days. Xianxia sucked in a breath of cold air. The divine Wei Xuanyuan Wenchen calculated and risked his entire life, for was basically free cabbage here. When Mu Bingyun and Xianxia entered, they immediately attracted the notice of a few profound practitioners waiting to be evaluated. When they sensed Xianxia's profound aura, all of them revealed looks of contempt. But once they saw Mu Bingyun, who sported the engraved jade which signified her status as a disciple of Ice Phoenix Palace next to him, their pupils contracted as their gazes changed to one of envy and yearning. They also subconsciously lowered their heads, not daring to look a second time. "Senior Sister Bingyun," a few disciples that were on guard welcomed over and said rather respectfully, "May we ask what you're here for?" "On behalf of my master, I am here to get him a freezing snow engraved jade." Mu Bingyun hinted at Xianxia with her gaze. The guarding disciples looked at Xianxia and then revealed expressions of shock. However, how could they dare question the order of an Ice Phoenix Palace master? One promptly answered, "Please come over here." However, since it is an examination day, the attendant of general affairs is not at the Phoenix Jade Palace but here, supervising the examination with our main hall master. "I will bring you to them." "Main hall master?" Mu Bingyun's brows twitched, as though she had some issue with this main hall master. She waved a hand and said, "No need, I've already found his aura. Go take care of your own mission." "Xianxia, let's go," Mu Bingyun said rather majestically before bringing Xianxia directly toward the inner part of the main hall. It was extremely obvious that the hierarchy within the disciples of Divine Ice Phoenix sect were quite evident. In front of an Ice Phoenix Palace disciple, Freezing Snow Hall disciples were all as deferential as servants. After walking for a long while through the solemn Great Hall, they finally stopped near a group of profound practitioners who were waiting to be evaluated. Mu Bingyun walked toward a middle-aged man in a long, dark blue robe. The moment she came near, that blue-robed, middle-aged man instantly sensed her, turned around, and smiled. "Oh, isn't this Bingyun? Why are you here?" Mu Bingyun answered respectfully. "Bingyun greets Senior Sushan. I'm here on behalf of my master to get Xianxia a Freezing Snow Hall engraved jade. Xianxia, this is Freezing Snow Hall's attendant of general affairs, Senior Sushan. Hurry up and go greet him." Xianxia walked forward and copied Mu Bingyun's salutation. "Junior Xianxia greets Senior Sushan." "Oh, your master's order." As Mu Sushan sized Xianxia up with a glance, deep astonishment flashed through the depths of his eyes. He then asked, "It seems that Palace Aster Bingyun has not been in the sect for a period of time. Could it be that Palace Master Bingyun has brought this child over from a different star realm? Yes, Mu Xiaolan answered honestly. Master brought him from a lower realm called the Blue Pole Star. Lower realm? Mu Sushan was even more shocked. He had never heard of the Blue Pole Star before, but he did not inquire any further. He only nodded slowly. If I recall correctly, Palace Master Bingyun had never brought back a lower realm's profound practitioner, yet she made a surprising exception this time. Although this child's profound strength is on the low side, he must have some quality that exceeds others. Ho-ho, follow me. Oh right, how is Palace Master's health faring lately? Just as Mu Xiaolan was about to answer him, a shrill female voice came from behind. HMPH, isn't this 36 Palace's Mu Xiaolan? Today is Freezing Snow Hall's great recruitment day. What are you here for? Xianxia saw Mu Xiaolan's body suddenly stiffen beneath this voice, and even her expression had become a bit unsightly. She paused for a little while before finally turning around. She lowered her head and said, Xiaolan greets Hall Master Fengshu. I am here on my master's orders. Xianxia also turned around. The approaching female was dressed in blue, her long hair was tied, her phoenix eyes were slightly slanted. Within her beautiful eyes was a cold intent that made one not dare to look straight at her. And this cold intent seemed to be targeted at Mu Xiaolan. And based on Mu Xiaolan's appearance, she was clearly afraid and also seemed to not like this person. Mu Bingyun? When she said the name Mu Bingyun, the corner of Mu Fengshu's lips clearly sneered with a trace of hostility. What does she want you to do? Ho-ho, a small matter, Mu Sushan said with a smile. He looked at Xianxia. This junior is a profound practitioner Palace Master Bingyun has brought over from a lower realm. Palace Master Bingyun wishes for him to enter Freezing Snow Hall. I was just about to take him with me to obtain an Ice Phoenix engraved jade. As for which hall he'll join, since Palace Master Bingyun has not specified that in her request, how about I leave that for Main Hall Master to decide? Main Hall Master. This form of address instantly shocked Xianxia. Mu Fengshu, Freezing Snow Hall's Main Hall Master, leader of 108 Freezing Snow Halls, several hundred Hall Masters and Vice Hall Masters, and more than 2 million Freezing Snow Hall disciples. This was a considerably high person of standing in the entire Divine Ice Phoenix sect. Lower realm? Him? Join Freezing Snow Hall. Mu Fengshu had noticed Xianxia from the very beginning, but she had only given him a single glance because he didn't have an aura that touched even the fringes of the Divine Way. He was not qualified for her to give him a second glance. Mu Fengshu suddenly extended a hand and pointed at Xianxia. You're letting a lower realm trash like him, who hasn't even stepped into the Divine Way, join my Freezing Snow Hall. HMPH, simply a gargantuan joke. What kind of a place do you take my Freezing Snow Hall for? Mu Fengshu's voice was extremely high and nearly spread through a great majority of the main hall. All of the nearby profound practitioners waiting for evaluation raised their brows, and countless gazes of contempt immediately fell on Xianxia. Only at the 5th level of the Sovereign Profound Realm. Shit, that kind of trash wants to join Freezing Snow Hall. When I was at the 5th level of the Sovereign Profound Realm, I couldn't even enter Snowfall Palace. He actually wants to enter Freezing Snow Hall. He took the wrong medicine. SHH, don't speak nonsense. He probably has a backer. Didn't you see that he was brought in by an Ice Phoenix Palace disciple? But from what Main Hall Master said, he seems to have come from a lower realm. Tusk, trash like this that come through the back door really are everywhere. A profound practitioner who had come from a lower realm said in envy-mixed disdain. Xianxia's brows instantly furrowed, but he immediately kept his cool and didn't say a single word. Mu Xiaolan's face, however, had changed quite a few times. She slightly bit her lip and said, "This is Master's intention." "So what?" Mu Fengshu's voice suddenly pitched even higher. "Our Divine Ice Phoenix sect is the #1 holy ground of the Snow Song realm. The reason why we have reached this day is because of our strict ranking and impartial system. First-rate disciples are our sect's future, but trash who wish to receive preferential treatment should go where trash ought to go. No one is allowed to selfishly overstep their bounds and waste our resources on this trash. As a palace master, she should serve as a model and be strict on herself." "But what?" Just as Mu Xiaolan was about to say something, she was stopped by Mu Fengshu's stern voice. Her phoenix eyes slightly sunk as she sharply enunciated every word. "If I allow trash at the middle stage of the Sovereign Profound Realm, who has never even touched the doorstep of the Divine Way, join Freezing Snow Hall just like that, where would the dignity of my Freezing Snow Hall be?" She pointed at the profound practitioners that had always been waiting in line to be evaluated. And where would I put these profound practitioners who experiences innumerable hardships to finally be able to stand here? If we can't execute even the most basic impartialness and brazenly operate due to selfishness, what face and dignity would we have in front of them? Mu Fengshu's tone was powerful and resounding. Her words were also righteous, striking the bottom of those profound practitioners' hearts. A great expanse of agreement instantly echoed forth as more and more people raised their heads, causing the sound of agreement to become louder and even more impassioned. Their emotions drowned Xianxia and Mu Bingyun in a clamor-filled world. That's right. On what basis can trash that doesn't even have the qualifications for Snowfall Palace enter freezing Snow Hall? Main Hall Master is just and brilliant. We've cultivated for so many years to finally enter Snowfall Palace, then we bitterly cultivated for several tens of years in Snowfall Palace to finally qualify for this examination. What basis does he have? Get the hell out, trash. Stop making a fool of yourself here. No matter how great your backer is, you're still trash, as expected of the Main Hall Master. Even though she is strict, she is still just and impartial. However, there were also a few who knew a bit of the inside story whispering within the crowd. The situation seems to be a bit strange, though. I seem to have heard the name Mu Bingyun. That's the name of Ice Phoenix Palace's 36th Palace Master. The status of an Ice Phoenix Palace Master is one rank higher than a Hall Master. Moreover, Mu Bingyun is also the Great Realm King's younger sister. This. Isn't Main Hall Master pretty much attacking Palace Master Bingyun? I once heard that Palace Master Bingyun had been infected by poison from the Flame God Realm a long time ago and was doomed for certain death. If she died, the one that's most qualified to succeed, as the 36 Palace's Palace Master, is the Main Hall Master. However, Palace Master Bingyun is still the Great Realm King's biological sister, so even though she was doomed for death, the Great Realm King still did not hesitate to waste countless first-rate profound crystals and medicines to prolong Palace Master Bingyun's life. She did not die for more than 1,000 years, which caused the Main Hall Master to never ascend in rank. Furthermore, several hundred years ago, some medicine the Main Hall Master was going to use to assist her in her breakthrough was forcibly snatched away by the Great Realm King to save Palace Master Bingyun, causing the Main Hall Master to not be able to break through to this day. So that's the case? Sigh, a woman's thoughts are truly terrifying. The explosion of resentment that surrounded her scared her out of her wits. She was a little girl who was nervous to the point where she trembled even when she had kidnapped someone, so how could she ever have encountered such public outrage before? She was immediately scared pale. Mu Fengshu wasn't even done yet as she hollered in a deep voice, "Ming Cheng, come over here." Beneath her yell, a lone person quickly walked out of the profound practitioners waiting to be evaluated. After arriving before Mu Fengshu, he asked respectfully, "At your command, Main Hall Master." "He is Li Ming Cheng." Mu Fengshu raised her phoenix brows. "My biological nephew." Once those words came out, low shouts immediately rang out from the surroundings, and the eyes of the profound practitioners who had been standing alongside him widened to become circular. Li Ming Cheng smiled, perfectly concealing his satisfaction while not forgetting to contemptuously sweep his gaze at Xianxia. His innate talent is impressive. His profound strength is currently now at the 3rd level of the Divine Origin realm, and there is only a thin line between him breaking through to the 4th level. In this group, he can be considered unequal. However, he is still going to honestly receive this evaluation and can only enter once he passes. As Freezing Snow Hall's Main Hall Master, I was still not swayed into selfishness because he is my nephew, nor did I allow him to be exempt from the examination because of his innate talent. What qualifications does pure trash like him have? Go back and ask your master. She is brazenly trampling all over our divine Ice Phoenix sect's dignity and even deliberately humiliating of my Freezing Snow Hall. Mu Fengshu's sharp shout and sudden name-shaming frightened Mu Bingyun so bad that she took 2 steps back. The different gazes around her also caused her mind great turmoil. She stammered, Master, she's not. Sigh. As the atmosphere became even worse, Mu Sushin, who had been standing to the side all this time, sighed. In fact, Hall Masters and Palace Masters arranging for people to directly enter Snowfall Palace, Freezing Snow Hall, and even Ice Phoenix Palace was a common occurrence and wasn't really considered a big deal. However, he was fully aware of the grievances between Mu Fengshu and Mu Bingyun. What Mu Fengshu was targeting was not today's matter, but Mu Bingyun. She had 1,000 years of accumulated resentment toward Mu Bingyun. He spoke up to resolve the dispute. Xiaolan, go leave for now and ask your master about her intentions. Main Hall Master, this is after all Palace Master Bingyun's intentions. It is not good to let this get too out of hand. How about? Chapter 948, Hard to Change One's Nature, HMPH. General Manager Sushan's quite right. Mu Fengshu snorted lightly. Mu Bingyun is 36th Ice Phoenix Palace's Palace Master and is also the Great Realm King's close relative. Even though I cannot allow this selfishness to happen as Freezing Snow Hall's Main Hall Master, how could I dare to not give a little face? Mu Fengshu shifted her gaze to Xianxia and said, Your name is Xianxia, right? All right, since it's an order from Palace Master Bingyun, I will give you a chance. Those who wish to enter my Freezing Snow Hall must pass 3 tests. Everyone standing here today has passed the first test, because the first test is a profound strength assessment. Anyone with profound strength lower than the divine origin realm has been disqualified, because someone who hasn't even touched the divine way is not able to receive the next test. As for someone of your cultivation level, Mu Fengshu hardly concealed the deep ridicule inside her low chuckle. With her standing, she obviously was not mocking Xianxia, but Mu Bingyun, who had brought him here. Xianxia did not say a single word. However, I'll make an exception today and directly exempt you from the first test. I will allow you to be together with everyone here who will be participating in the second and third test. If you pass, you will obviously be able to honorably enter Freezing Snow Hall, and I won't say a word against it. How about it? As a Freezing Snow Hall Master, I don't even give the slightest leeway to my own nephew, yet I'll break such a precedent for you. You mustn't say that I am not giving Mu Bingyun any face. Ha 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 ha. Mu Fengshu's words caused the profound practitioners watching the spectacle to break out into laughter that was becoming louder by the second. Even a fool could hear it clear. This was not a concession, but an obvious mockery. It could even be said to be a humiliation. Allowing a person at the 5th level of the Sovereign Profound Realm participate in Freezing Snow Hall's second and third tests. This was simply a joke. Mu Sushan shook his head, lacking any more words. The surrounding Freezing Snow Hall disciples who assisted in the exams also could barely resist laughing as they cast pitying eyes on Xianxia. Mu Xiaolan's complexion immediately became green, but the person in front of her was Freezing Snow Hall's Main Hall Master. Even if she burned with a nestful of rage, she didn't dare to curse out loud. She only clenched her teeth, turned around, and said furiously, Xianxia, let's go. Oh, does this mean you are rejecting this Hall Master's good intentions? Mu Fengshu turned around in disdain as a pleased expression flashed in her eyes. Then after you return, do not forget to tell Mu Bingyun about the good intentions and face I gave her. Mu Xiaolan dragged Xianxia far away, yet the resounding roar of laughter could still be heard behind them. Mu Xiaolan's hands tightened into fist as her face alternated between red and white. She's gone too far, she yelled furiously as glistening tears revolved in her eyes. In comparison, Xianxia was much more calm. He waved his hand in front of Mu Xiaolan's eyes and asked in confusion, That Main Hall Master from earlier, she can't have some kind of animosity for Fairy Mu, can she? What animosity? Mu Xiaolan wiped her eyes, then vented while yelling, Isn't it only because she wants to take Master's place to become an Ice Phoenix Palace Master? Master was infected by the flame poison more than 1,000 years ago, and because she lost her powers. The flame poison invaded her soul. When she returned to the Snow Song realm, it was no longer curable, and she was doomed to die. If Master died, then she, as Freezing Snow Hall's Main Hall Master, would easily inherit Master's Palace Master position. A Palace Master is at a higher rank than a Main Hall Master. Thus, from 1,000 years ago, she has long since made preparations to become an Ice Phoenix Palace Master. Everyone in Divine Ice Phoenix sect knows this. But in the end, because of the close sister relationship between the Master and Great Realm King, the Great Realm King didn't hesitate to pay any cost in order to prolong Master's life. Any item in the entire sect that was able to prolong a life was taken by the Great Realm King in order to save Master. As a result, every year that Master stays safe causes Mu Fengshu, who had long ago declared that she will become Palace Master, to lose face. It seems that she has received quite a bit of ridicule. I've also heard that Mu Fengshu obtained a rare, primordial dusk-cold soaring blossom in the training grounds. It would help her profound strength make a breakthrough. But after the great realm king heard about it, she took it away to replenish Master's life. All these things caused her to have a really deep grudge against Master. She doesn't dare to do anything to Master in public, but a majority of the malicious rumors about Master come from her. Master is just too kind. Master thinks she owes her, so she never struck back, causing her to become even more aggravating. I see. Xianxia nodded slightly. But today, she seriously went too far today. Mu Bingyun forcefully stomped her foot and said angrily, Master is still an Ice Phoenix Palace master and even the Great Realm King's sister, so even if Mu Fengshu was like that in the past, she has never dared to target Master in public. But today, this makes me so angry. It's simple. It's because she was completely reasonable this time. Xianxia answered as he spread his hands out. She obviously would not publicly speak words of slander. However, her words today were just and upright. Going through the back door is shameful behavior after all. She was completely right, and her own nephew was within the teams waiting to be evaluated. Anyone could see that she was not being selfish about that at all. If it were to be circulated, even if they knew she was targeting Fairy Mu, the public opinion would still favor her. This was especially the case for profound practitioners who suffered untold hardships when attempting to enter freezing Snow Hall. You heard their laughter earlier. Honestly, if I was one of them, I probably would have laughed along as well. Isn't Master doing this for you? Yet you're actually speaking up for Mu Fengshu, Mu Bingyun said angrily. Let's go, we're going back there. Xianxia stopped walking and suddenly turned back. Back? What are you going to do? Mu Bingyun hurriedly pulled him to a stop. Even though my first rule in the God realm is to not cause trouble, Xianxia inhaled slightly. I'm still the cause of this matter. Fairy Mu did all of this for me. I cannot allow her to be humiliated because of me anymore. What do you want to do? Oi, don't mess around. This is Snow Song Realm, not your profound sky continent. Even if it wasn't a grand palace master, any disciple from freezing Snow Hall would be able to… stop. Xianxia acted as though he did not hear what Mu Bingyun had said and sped up. In an instant, he had already returned to where Mu Sushan and Mu Fengshu had stood. Although Mu Bingyun had wanted to stop Xianxia, she was too late and could only grit her teeth and follow behind Xianxia. Their auras could never escape the senses of Mu Fengshu, and by the time both of them had returned, Mu Fengshu had already turned around and coldly said, What's wrong? You still have things to say. Palace Master Fengshu. Xianxia adopted the way Mu Bingyun referred to Mu Fengshu. You previously said that you could exempt me from participating in the first exam and allow me to directly enter the second and third exam. Do you stand by your word? Heh, Mu Fengshu snorted. This palace master's words are of course of utmost trustworthiness. Why? Could it be that you have changed your mind and are prepared to receive the special permission that this palace master has granted you? Mu Bingyun anxiously said. Xianxia, don't mess. Of course. Xianxia completely ignored Mu Bingyun's shouts and said with utmost seriousness, Palace Master Fengshu is fair and just, yet she bestowed such benevolence upon this junior. If junior does not appreciate this kindness, it would be unbecoming of him. Palace Master Fengshu's words previously were completely fair. If this junior wishes to enter freezing Snow Hall, it is only right for me to go through the examination. Not only is taking shortcuts unfair to others, it is also disrespecting the law and order of the sect. Then I'll have to trouble Hall Master Fengshu to make plans to allow this junior to participate in today's exams. Xianxia, you… Mu Bingyun was both angry and anxious. She wanted to jump with fury, but because she was in front of everyone, she could not scream too loudly and could only forcefully suppress her voice and said, Are you crazy? Ha 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 ha. Mu Fengshu as well as the surrounding profound practitioners began to laugh loudly. Mu Fengshu then glanced at Xianxia with intent. Obviously, she had treated Xianxia's words as flattery. As she has served as the hall master for freezing Snow Hall for more than 2,000 years, she had already seen all sorts of flattery and could not be bothered with it anymore. However, Xianxia's words made her feel exceptionally pleasant and happy as, after all, he was the person that Mu Bingyun had brought and wanted to specially allocate a place in freezing Snow Hall for. It would seem that he was being highly regarded. However, now this person was flattering her. This caused her to take Xianxia even more lightly while at the same time feeling exceptionally satisfied. Mu Sushan sighed inwardly while shaking her head with utmost disappointment. Regardless whether it was in Mu Fengshu's eyes or the eyes of everyone present, Xianxia's words seemed like they were legitimate flattery. Xianxia was the first person that Mu Bingyun had brought from the lower realm all these years. Although his profound strength was weak, he was pleasant and curious and never seemed like such a pathetic person. Excellent, Mu Fengshu nodded slightly but turned around and glanced at Xianxia with contempt. Since that's the case, then you can enter the first group. Jai Hanfeng, add him into the first group. The preparation is almost done as well. The exam today should begin any time now. Yes, Hall Master. A tall young man that was dressed in blue bowed. He was Jai Hanfeng, who was a disciple from the first hall of Freezing Snow Hall. Today's first examination was organized, held and witnessed by him. This group was the group that was the closest to Xianxia and Mu Bingyun. They were the group that had laughed at them the entire time. The nephew that Mu Fengshu had shouted for previously, Li Mingcheng, who possessed profound strength in the third stage of the divine origin realm, also belonged to this group. Mu Bingyun slowly took 2 steps forward and grabbed Xianxia. She suppressed her voice and viciously said, "Hurry up and leave with me. Don't embarrass yourself here. You'll cause Master to become a laughingstock as well." Xianxia slowly spoke. "I'm only doing this in order to not trouble Fairy Mu and cause her to become a laughingstock. You can just stay at the side and watch." "AI, so troublesome," Xianxia helplessly muttered, turned around and shrugged off Mu Bingyun's arm that was holding onto his sleeve. Jai Hanfeng walked towards Xianxia and plainly said, "You enter the group. The examination is going to start. You're the first person in the history of the Freezing Snow Hall to enter directly into the second round of examinations. Don't forget the kindness the main hall master has granted you." "Pooh!" The surrounding people once again burst out in laughter. Everyone knew that the first person actually meant the number 1 person in terms of weakest profound strength. When Xianxia began moving towards the examination team, the eyes of the first group of 10,000 profound practitioners followed him. Their previous nervousness and carefulness was replaced with a face of contempt and laughter. All of them who dared not even breathe too heavily within Freezing Snow Hall now found a sense of superiority from one person. A sense of superiority in both strength and intelligence. Mu Fengshu suggested that, on the account of Mu Bingyun, she could exempt him from the first examination. It was originally meant to insult and humiliate. No one would imagine that this person from the lower realms who was only within the 5th level of the sovereign profound realm would accept instead of actually wising up and running away. They had started to see the beginnings of a joke happening during this examination for the Freezing Snow Hall. Chapter 949, Snowstorm Realm. That big dummy. He's huge idiot who thinks he is all that but is just asking for trouble. This pisses me off, pisses me off. Helplessly watching Xianxia being added to the examination team, Mu Bingyun stomped her foot in rage. Bingyun, was he really brought back from the lower realm by the palace master Bingyun herself? Mu Sushin walked over and asked with a frown. Yes, but... Mu Bingyun almost blabbed out that it wasn't because of Xianxia's talents, but because of some other reason. Fortunately, she stopped herself in time. Palace Master Bingyun seldomly brings back people from the lower realms, yet she has made a mistake this time. Disappointment stretched across Mu Sushin's face as he sighed, shaking his head. Xianxia's name was added to the examination name list of the first group. Mu Fengshu's gaze shifted as she gently pushed Li Mingcheng. "Go back and prepare for the exam. Even though there shouldn't be anyone who can surpass you in this group, you mustn't slack off. Hanfeng, get ready to begin." "Yes, Hall Master," Jai Hanfeng respectfully replied. After she finished, Mu Fengshu no longer lingered around and left with large strides, not even bothering to give Xianxia another glance. It was as if she completely forgot about the lowly, snobbish nobody named Xianxia the instant she turned around. When Li Mingcheng returned to the team, it was unknown whether he did it on purpose or not, but he just happened to stand beside Xianxia. The instant he stood still, he turned to Xianxia and said with a huge smile, "Kid, you've probably heard it before, but this Freezing Snow Hall's main hall master is my aunt. I have to say that you hoping to latch onto my aunt's leg is a wise decision. After all, even though that Mu Bingyun is an Ice Phoenix Palace master, no one knows when she might just drop dead. But it's a pity that something like you, that can't even be considered trash, does not qualify to flatter my aunt. How about this, you want to latch onto my leg?" As he said that, Li Mingcheng's right foot tapped the ground, his eyes that watched Xianxia not concealing the slightest hint of him sizing up a clown. "You can stop dreaming about entering this Freezing Snow Hall. Snowfall Palace, however, you might be able to get in after 8 or 10 years. If you listen to me from now on and become my faithful dog, I might throw you a few bones if I get something good from freezing Snow Hall. You think I'm calling you names? No, 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 I'm seriously pitying you lots because you're about to become a huge joke right after you've arrived in the Snow Song Realm. If no one protects you, you'll stay a joke forever. How about it? Xianxia crossed his arms, his eyes half opened, not replying to him at all. What, you deaf? Li Mingcheng sneered. Xianxia sighed and muttered, dumbass. What did you say? Li Mingcheng's expression changed, and all 5 of his facial features squished together. Xianxia's profound strength had only reached the middle stage of the sovereign profound realm. Xianxia had been anxiously waiting to latch onto Mu Fengshu's enormous leg as well. Li Mingcheng naturally felt like a towering monarch capable of looking down at him with a sneer and deciding his fate. If he wanted Xianxia dead, all it would take was a twitch of his finger. He even considered actively talking with Xianxia to be a kind of favor. Furthermore, with his previous show of social climbing, flattery and intelligence when trying to forcibly participate in freezing Snow Hall's exam, taking him as a dog he could order about at will should have been an easy feat. He was about to become a disciple of freezing Snow Hall. After all, he was even the main hall master's nephew. If nothing else, Xianxia should have agreed to any one of his demands and be terrified to the point where he could only say yes. Never in his dreams did he expect that Xianxia's response would be an insult filled with disdain. Li Mingcheng's entire body trembled, but this was freezing Snow Hall. He wasn't able to explode in anger. Soon enough, his face recovered its natural calm. However, a sinister coldness appeared in his eyes as he laughed quietly. Good, very good, you've got guts. After today, just you watch. Xianxia closed his eyes, not giving him any attention as he silently said to himself, Loki, Loki, don't get into trouble, don't seek trouble, don't cause trouble. Few when Mu Fengshu left, the face of Jai Hanfeng, who was in charge of the first group's examinations, changed from that of respect to sharp arrogance. He swept a glance through the entire group and then said gravely, the preparations for the profound formation of the second round of examinations are complete. You may start at any time. However, before then, I have something I must remind you all of. Currently, your group has a total of 10,323 people, but only 1,000 will pass the second round. The remainders have no choice but to come again in 5 years. Only 1 out of 10 people would be able to pass, and this was only the second round. And only 100 from the 1,000 who enter the third round will pass. Jai Hanfeng extended a finger and said indifferently, in other words, from the lot of you, only 1 out of 100 will be able to enter Freezing Snow Hall. Freezing Snow Hall is not a place just anyone can join. You all may have been called geniuses within the Snow Song Realm or other places, or were even hegemons in the lower realms, but when you come here, you all must think it over. If you don't want to fail too miserably, put aside your former arrogance, because here all that is a mere joke. In addition, let me also give you guys some good news. Jai Hanfeng casually took out a crystal bottle. There is always someone who achieves the best record, and they will of course be rewarded. After all, trash should be tossed away while talents qualify to receive preferential treatment. And this year's reward, Tusk, could be counted as the greatest in 10,000 years. It is even something I would drool over. Jai Hanfeng slowly grasped the jade bottle in his hand, his movements rather careful. He pitched slowly, Jade Fallen Ice, Soul Pellet, WHO. When the words Jade Fallen Ice Soul Pellet came out, the profound practitioners who had been holding their breath involuntarily gasped. Xianxia raised his head and shockingly discovered that every single person in his surroundings had eyes that bulged out, mouths that gaped open and throats that gulped from time to time. Even Li Mingcheng beside him had wide eyes that blazed with light. His hands were tightened into fists as they trembled from excitement. Even Jai Hanfeng, who was holding onto the Jade Fallen Ice Soul Pellet, was trying to conceal a distinct, feverish gaze. Even though this was the first time Xianxia had ever heard of the Jade Fallen Ice Soul Pellet, judging by the reactions of the surrounding crowd, there was no doubt that even in the Divine Ice Phoenix sect, it was a considerably great pellet. To these profound practitioners who wished to enter Freezing Snow Hall, it had an even greater lure and impact. Ah, Jade Fallen Ice Soul Pellet? Mu Bingyun also let out a surprised gasp. Why is the reward for this year's Freezing Snow Hall examination this excessive? The profound God convention will be held in about 30 months. Mu Sushin, who was standing beside Mu Bingyun, seemed to be aware of the inside situation. He answered rather profoundly, anyone can tell that this profound God convention came about in quite an unusual manner. Every single king realm is also acting strangely. Something huge might be coming to the god realm. As such, the great realm king personally issued an order to no longer be stingy with the sect's resources, and use all our power to nurture our first-rate disciples of great talent. The reason why the Jade-Fallen Ice Soul Pellet is the examination reward for freezing Snow Hall this time around must have something to do with that. However, Jai Hanfeng put away the jade bottle, swept his gaze toward Li Mingcheng as his expression immediately eased. In this group, unless there is some kind of huge accident, this Jade-Fallen Ice Soul Pellet will be junior brother Mingcheng's. Countless gazes of admiration and envy shifted toward Li Mingcheng. At the same time, the longing light in their eyes also quickly dimmed, because they were well aware that Li Mingcheng stood out far too much in this examination group. No one could possibly compete with him. Even though Jai Hanfeng was quite blunt about it, everyone knew that it was not the least bit of an exaggeration. Li Mingcheng was instantly stunned. Then, he used all his effort to suppress the joy and satisfaction on his face and promptly replied, "Senior brother Hanfeng is flattering me. The strengths of everyone who is able to stand here, aside from the bouncing clown, are all extraordinary. The following exam will sure be a bitter struggle. As for the number 1 place, although I never undervalue myself, I still dare not be complacent. Ha, as expected of the main hall master's nephew. Not only is your innate talent extraordinary, you are also this modest," he praised, nodding in approval. "From this day forth, you are sure to give freezing Snow Hall an additional shine, junior brother Mingcheng." The fact that his strength was the highest among the examinees was only the secondary reason why Jai Hanfeng would speak so highly of Jai Mingcheng. The main reason was, of course, because he was the main hall master's nephew. Jai Hanfeng's expression immediately became solemn. Then he waved his hand. "All right, the second round of examinations will begin now. Those who wish to enter Freezing Snow Hall, raise your spirits." Clang. Following the last of Jai Hanfeng's voice, a huge profound formation was activated. White profound light shone from below as a profound formation that was around 3 kilometers wide appeared beneath the feet of the examinees. The second round of the examination is called the Snowstorm Realm. Jai Hanfeng spoke without expression. Once the profound formation below your feet activates, you all will appear in a snowstorm world. That place is much colder than what you all can imagine. The storms there will make you lose all sense of direction, aside from the destination point. The destination point is only 150 kilometers ahead of you. All you have to do is withstand the cold and storm and reach the destination point. As long as you touch the destination point, you will be brought out by the profound formation. The first 1,000 people that come out of the profound formation will be the ones who pass this round. As for the others, Jai Hanfeng sneered, you can all get the hell out. After Jai Hanfeng finished his explanation, many of the participants sucked in a cold breath of air. At this moment, a young profound practitioner who stood at the front protested weakly. But this isn't fair. In that kind of environment, those who cultivate ice attribute profound arts will have a huge advantage. Almost everyone in the Snow Song realm cultivates ice profound arts, but there are very few of us from the lower realms who cultivate ice profound arts. Isn't this a bit too unfair to us? Fair? Jai Hanfeng strode forth with his eyes locked on the profound practitioner that spoke out. Once he came close, he suddenly reached out and grabbed him by the collar. Following a flash of blue light from his body, a layer of thick ice instantly spread to that young profound practitioner's entire body. Yun Qi's brows instantly twitched. The profound strength aura of this person clearly surpassed Mu Bingyun. "Ah!" The young profound practitioner's eyes widened amidst his frightened groan. He subconsciously wanted to struggle, but his profound strength and mobility were thoroughly sealed. He was not able to budge 1 inch, and he was also quickly losing consciousness. Only the strong are qualified to speak of fairness. Jai Hanfeng narrowed his eyes and sneered. "If you want fairness, you can go seek it from those trash who live on those lowly planets after heading back to your lower realm. You are not qualified to say that here." Bang! That young profound practitioner was ruthlessly tossed to the ground by Jai Hanfeng. The surrounding profound practitioners quickly made way as ice crystals shattered while scattering through the air. Not a single one of them lent a helping hand. Jai Hanfeng turned around and said coldly, "All of the profound arts in our divine Ice Phoenix sect are of the ice attribute, so it is naturally much more suitable for those who have a foundation in ice profound arts. In regards to this round of examinations, I've already finished what I have to say. Whoever wants to say any more useless words can get the hell out. All of the profound practitioners kept quiet out of fear. Not a single one dared to speak out. As if he was scared dumb, that profound practitioner who had been tossed to the floor didn't get up for a long time. I will be sending you off to the snowstorm realm now. Enjoy. Jai Hanfeng flicked a finger, and the profound formation beneath them began to spin rapidly. Following a ray of white light that shot to the skies, all of the human figures there were swallowed within. Sai, how am I going to explain this to Master? Mu Bingyun said with a face full of anxiety. Chapter 950. Below Qi, the white light slowly dispersed, and a bone-chilling wind came in from all directions. Xianxia opened his eyes, and a world covered in snow appeared before him. It was snowy white from the sky to the ground, with almost no other color in sight. There were other examinees in his surroundings. The place they were at was extremely cold, but the atmosphere was especially quiet. Just ahead of them, they kept hearing a howl so sharp that it was almost ear-piercing. This was the snowstorm realm, freezing snow hall's second round of examination. To be able to pass this round of examination, one would have to be one of the first 1,000 people to go through the snowstorm and freezing wind and reach the finish line. The finish line was 150 kilometers straight ahead of them. 150 kilometers was a relatively short distance to profound practitioners at their level, and the details were very simple and straightforward. Even though the place they were at right now was very cold, it wasn't completely unbearable, not to mention any feeling of pressure. But this was an examination of the God realm. How could it be as simple as it looked? Whoosh! The profound energy surrounding them was in turmoil. Countless sounds of explosions burst out at the same instant. Only 1,000 people could pass this examination, and the rest that numbered more than 9,000 would all be brutally eliminated. In addition, most of them were at a similar level of strength, so a split second of delay could result in two completely different destinies. Because of this, none of the profound practitioners who entered the snowstorm realm was in the mood to admire the surrounding scenery like Xianxia was. Instead, the first thing they did after they arrived was to confirm the direction of the finish line, and utilized their profound energy to charge towards the snowstorm world in the north with their fastest speed. More than 10,000 divine origin realm profound practitioners released their energy at the same time. The power was so strong that it shocked heaven and earth. The flying snow and ice layers around were all kicked up harshly. However, not everyone started rushing towards the finish line immediately. Instead, there were 3 people who stayed in place. Xianxia, Li Mingcheng, and the young profound practitioner that Jai Hanfeng was scolding earlier. Even though they had already teleported to Snowstorm Realm, he still remained limp on the ground with his face pale. He obviously took it really hard from earlier. Everyone ignored him the entire time, and they had almost forgotten about his existence. Li Mingcheng turned around and looked towards Xianxia with a smirk on his face. He knew better than anyone here what was ahead in the Snowstorm Realm. He deliberately gave himself a handicap, because he was incredibly confident that he would still win like this, and no one would be able to reach the finish line before him. He didn't think it was strange seeing Xianxia staying in place, because in his eyes, even if a garbage like Xianxia tried his best, he would still only come in last, so there was no reason for him to try at all. He stared at Xianxia and laughed coldly. "Yun brat, I originally thought you were a sensible and smart person, but you are instead just a complete fool. You should know it is easier for me to squish you to death than to kill an ant. You were showed good intentions earlier, so I gave you a chance, but you didn't know your place and even yelled at me. But I am not some petty person. I can grant you another chance if you kneel down and admit your fault now." Before he finished speaking, Xianxia had already turned away and walked toward the young, profound practitioner who was limp on the ground this whole time, completely ignoring what he had said without even looking at him once. Li Mingcheng's face became stiff. He quickly looked towards the north and said coldly, "Never mind, I can't believe I was wasting my time with this garbage. Xianxia, you are digging your own grave, you'll be dead soon." Right after he finished speaking, he flew up into the air with a speed like lightning. Even though he had enough confidence, he didn't dare to be careless, because what he wanted was not just to pass the examination, but to pass as number 1. Xianxia indeed kept in mind the 3 rules that the little demon empress gave him. If this was the profound sky continent, it would absolutely be impossible for him to pretend he didn't hear Li Mingcheng's repeated humiliations. He walked in front of the young, profound practitioner and gave him his hand. "Get up. It must have been hard to come here from the lower realms. If you collapse here, then it will really not be worth it. The young, profound practitioner lifted his head. He clearly hesitated when he saw that it was Xianxia, but he still grabbed onto Xianxia's hand and stood up. However, his smile was a bit stiff. Even though those words are a bit unconvincing coming from your mouth, you are right. The trial had just begun, though it's not fair, but at least I can't give in before even starting, he said, gritting his teeth, as profound energy erupted from his body. I am Feng Mo from a star realm called Quagmire Realm. What about you? Xianxia from Blue Pole Star, but you probably heard earlier I was brought here by Fairy Mu. I wouldn't even be able to get here with my own ability, Xianxia said. Blue Pole Star, a planet? The young, profound practitioner was slightly surprised. In terms of planes, planets were a lower existence than star realms. He nodded his head. Even though I despise the way you turned your coat earlier, based on what you said just now, in the future, if you need anything in the Ice Phoenix realm, you can try to look for me. I might be able to help you a few times. I cultivate the profound energy of Earth element, but that doesn't mean I cannot beat those who were born in the Snow Song realm. He gritted his teeth hard and was about to start charging. Your goal should be Jai Han Feng, Xianxia suddenly said. The only reason he was able to humiliate you as he wished is because he is stronger and has a higher position than you. Out of all the people who are participating in the examination, you were the only one who dared to question him. This was enough to prove that you are one with a strong character, so you must not be able to relieve today's humiliation, right? But if you can't even take this first step today, you won't be qualified to talk about the future. Feng Mo's eyes slightly moved. He looked deeply towards Xianxia, and the profound energy surrounding him suddenly grew fiercely. He turned into a pale yellow flowing light and immediately shot towards the north. Sigh, Xianxia said to himself. Am I minding too much business? Ha, never mind, never mind. I need to listen to Kei and be low-key, must be low-key. Before I see Jasmine, I can't upset anyone and can't get into any trouble. After repeating it several times to himself, Xianxia finally got up and flew ahead. Right when he flew out for less than 250 meters, he felt the temperature falling abruptly. The strong, freezing wind that was blowing towards him was as if a big, wide palm was hitting his body, trying to push him backwards. And this was only the beginning. As he moved forward, the temperature continued to go down and the strong wind had become a fierce wind. After going forward for a few kilometers, the surroundings suddenly became a snowstorm world, and the wind had transformed into an incredibly terrifying storm wind. The cold was freezing everyone's body and sealing their profound energy. The flying snow was blocking their vision and senses, and the storm wind was blowing them in many different directions. Under the combination of these three factors, it formed a world that was enough to cause divine way profound practitioners to be desperate. But there was one exception, and that was Xianxia. The freezing cold and snowstorm did not affect him at all. The only thing that hindered him was the storm wind. Because his body and profound energy would not be weakened by the cold, as long as he resisted the storm wind, it was much easier for him than for other profound practitioners. Before the 50-kilometer point, most profound practitioners were able to face it calmly. However, after the 50-kilometer point, all of their speeds decreased suddenly. When they reached 75 kilometers, the bodies of those with weaker foundations and those lower realm profound practitioners who did not cultivate ice profound energy were already turning purple from the cold. They couldn't even utilize half of their profound energy. It became more difficult to move forward, and there were even people who got blown to somewhere unknown by the sudden storm wind, leaving only their terrified screams. After the 100-kilometer mark, the screaming became a lot more frequent. More and more profound practitioners were swallowed into the snowstorm, and the rest were having a difficult time moving forward. Xianxia released all of his profound energy and moved forward in the snowstorm at a fast pace. The snowstorm kept becoming fiercer, and he couldn't see anyone's face clearly at all. He could only see people struggling desperately or blurry figures who were blown away by the storm wind. The sound of their incessant screaming was quickly buried in the snowstorm. Relying on the great advantage of not being affected by the cold, Xianxia traveled through the snowstorm and quickly passed waves and waves of people. At the same time, he was roughly calculating the number of profound practitioners that he passed. Later on, he deliberately tried to slow down, converged his profound energy, and started moving forward slowly with the terrifying storm wind blowing in his face. To be able to pass the examination, he needed to be in the first 1,000 people to arrive at the finish line. And within the 1,000 people, the further back his ranking, the better, because his goal was to pass the examination while being low-key. It was already shocking that he was able to pass the examination without a profound strength within the divine way. But if his ranking was too high, he wouldn't be able to be low-key later on even if he wanted to. In the freezing snow main hall, 108 large profound formations were all flickering in white light. As time passed, the time for the results to come out was quickly approaching. The disciples who were in charge of the examination in freezing snow hall all focused their gazes on the profound formations. They only wanted results, and as for what happened in the snowstorm realm, even though they were able to see it, they were too lazy to find out. After all, it was the same every year. "Sai, hurry up and end." Mu Bingyun was crouched on the ground and her face was filled with depression. 30 minutes had passed since Xianxia and the others had entered the snowstorm realm. The results were going to be out soon. During this period of time, there were a few times that she almost wanted to just leave Xianxia, but she finally forced herself to stay. There was no news from Mu Bingyun, and she didn't dare to send a sound transmission. After all, she was with the Great Realm King at the moment. As for the result of Xianxia participating in the examination, it was a no-brainer. Mu Bingyun wanted to cover her face and run away just simply thinking about it. Clang! The profound formation in front of them suddenly flashed with white light. Even the host of the examination, Jai Hanfeng, narrowed his eyes. When he saw the figure of the first person who appeared, he walked forward and laughed loudly. This was indeed the expected result. After all, you are main hall master's nephew. Even though I tried to overestimate you, the time you used was still a lot shorter than what I had predicted. The first person who walked out of the profound formation, the first to pass the second round of examination, was exactly Li Mingcheng. Jai Hanfeng's words were filled with flattery, because with Li Mingcheng's natural talent and his identity as the main hall master's nephew, his position would definitely not be lower than his after he entered the freezing snow hall. Li Mingcheng smiled and said, "Senior Brother Hanfeng is too kind. However, if I wasn't held back by some small matter, Senior Brother Hanfeng probably wouldn't have had to wait as long." "Oh," Jai Hanfeng smiled and said, "held back by some small matter. Could there be someone overconfident who provoked Junior Brother Mingcheng in the snowstorm realm?" "It was just a buffoon. No need to take it to heart," Li Mingcheng said smilingly. After Li Mingcheng had arrived for the time of 100 breaths, the second profound practitioner who had completed the examination finally appeared. Following after, the profound formation in front of them started flickering in a faster frequency, from a few dozen people to more than 100 people. A few hundred people. Many of the profound practitioners who passed the examination directly lay on the ground while taking big breaths over the moon. More and more people completed the examination. Once the 1,000th profound practitioner passed through from the snowstorm realm, the profound formation at the finishing would close automatically, ending the examination. At the moment, more than 900 people had come out of the profound formation. As it neared the end, the flickering of the profound light became more frequent. Number 966th, number 967th, number 968th. Li Mingcheng stood next to Jai Hanfeng pompously and looked at the other profound practitioners who were way behind him with the gaze of a king. But when it reached the 970th person, just as the examination profound formation was about to close, Li Mingcheng's eyes jumped abruptly and instantly widened. Because the 970th person who walked out of the profound formation was one who absolutely should not have appeared. Xianxia.